Hillclimbing is one of the most popular forms of motorsport. Drivers compete against the clock over a tarmac course, typically around 1 to 1.5 kilometres long. It attracts a whole range of cars, from road-going saloons to specialised single-seater racing cars. The British Hillclimb Championship is the pinnacle of the sport, with over 150 drivers tackling 14 events around the UK, including Northern Ireland and Channel Islands. The contest for the title of British Hillclimb Champion is dominated by powerful race cars, with reigning champion Wallace Menzies driving a Gould single-seater powered by a 3.3-litre Cosworth engine designed for the Indy race car series in the USA. The BHC Cup runs alongside the main championship and is fought out between a wide range of cars, all running in classes of similar type of vehicles, from road-going saloons all the way through to specialised single-seater race cars.
So here we go again for the afternoon runs, kicked off by Formula Fords. 816 in the shapely shape. Is it Caroline Ryder? Let's have a look. It is Caroline, mother of Matt, and very proficient indeed in her little Formula Ford. 65, you see 65 under the bridge in a Formula Ford is not bad at all. And up to the line comes the little Fiat Bath 595, very hot little Bath. I think they've given up making the electric one. They found it didn't sell, it was costing too much, so I think they're back to just making the petrol versions. Caroline still clicking away up the hill, David Garnett well on his way, and on the line car number 22. This is such an interesting car, which you can buy, it's for sale, and it looks like a 6R4 Metro. Well, it's a Metro body shell, modified slightly, but all the bits inside are Mitsubishi. 3-litre engine, gearbox, transaxle, and so on, and beautifully built by Peter Knights. So if you fancy it, you've got yourself a very powerful and fun and rare hill climb car. Make him an offer. John Barber in the vintage Fiat Abarth 850 TC Nürburgring with the boot lid open, as always, quite right too. Whether for aerodynamics or for cooling, we don't know, we don't ask. Caroline did a 50.62, David Garnett did a 55.63, and Peter Knight has just done a 51.31. John Barber on his way, and up to the line comes Peter Baker in Doris. And as you can see, if you know your classic cars, Doris is a Daimler Conquest with a, I think, a 2-litre engine. I'm not sure how to find her in the program, but anyway, 3.55 off the start. Well, it's a pre-selector box. It's not designed for rapid takeoff. 40 miles an hour after the bridge. So Doris is a fairly stately person. She's competed in the Monte Carlo Rally. She competed at the Santa Pod drag strip the other day. You'll find it on YouTube. And she did all right. I think she got to 60 miles an hour by the end of the quarter mile, which is pretty good. And on the line we got David Wilson in the LEs, as we're watching on the screen. Doris coming round the S's. We'll talk about that a little bit later. We're about to go on live stream. Peter Baker 73.55. David Wilson doing a nice run in the LEs, and he's followed by Zoe Sherman sharing the very rapid Exige, much more powerful version of the LEs, different aerodynamics, a fixed roof, and a big tail at the big wing at the back. Early ones had the K-Series Rover engine, but tuned to produce about 240, 250 bhp. Now, why is he stopped? I hope that's not bad news for who was running before. But David Wilson has actually finished with a 48.98. So is it a mechanical problem for Zoe, or was she red flagged? Doesn't say that she's been red flagged, so I fear a mechanical malady. Loads, what Lotus they say, loads of trouble, usually serious. So a particular welcome if you're watching and listening online on our streamline, which has been a revolution over the last 2 years. And the fear from some people was if you put it on live stream, nobody will come. Actually, the reverse has been the case. People have seen it on live stream in this country anyway, said, oh, I like the look of that. Let's go and see what it's like in real life. And they do. So we have been getting record crowds, and live stream is certainly responsible for some of that. If you're overseas a long way away, well, again, guten Tag, wenn Sie Deutsch sind. Bonjour, si vous êtes française. Hi there, if you're in Australia, although you should be fast asleep, tucked up in bed. We do love getting messages. The more the merrier. If they're complimentary, that's fine. If they're not, that's okay. We've had them from Indonesia, from Turkey, from New Guinea, from Australia, of course. We got some faithful fans in France, in the border of France, near the corner with Germany. That's Tom. Hi, Tom. If you're listening, you're very welcome again. We've got listeners in Maryland, in the States. And it is amazing to me, as an old codger, to realize that these words, such as they are winging their way around the world. I think it's just fantastic. Here's a picture, an overhead picture of Prescott, so it gives you an idea of the hill. Start bottom right, rush up under the bridge, and then into Sterling Moss's favourite corner, Orchard Corner, which goes zooming up to a right-hand hairpin called Ettores, named, of course, after the great Ettore Bugatti. We are the home of the Bugatti Owners Club UK, and then a quick snatch of downhill, and then uphill, up a gentle hill towards Pardon. And incidentally, if you've just seen that yellow Exige stuck, it really is stuck. It's got a transmission seizure. Pardon is a left-hand hairpin, and a fairly steep one as well. Some vintage cars struggle to get around Pardon. And then it's called the straight along the straight, but it's not. It's a swoop left and a swoop right at midway, and then heavy braking for the S's, a left, a bit of a right, then a sharp left out of the S's, called Tom Rolt Corner, in honour of the great engineer and author Tom Rolt, who was hugely instrumental in restoring the canal system in this country from the deprivation it had had during the war. Most of the canals were dry and unused, and now if you fancy a narrowboat holiday, they are fantastic. They're lovely, they're well looked after, and it's a beautiful, peaceful holiday. From S's, it's a quick blast up to semicircle, almost a almost a semicircle round to the right, with a drop-off on the outside of it, which looks a bit scary when you're driving it. You think, oh crikey, we're going to go crashing down there, but actually it's a very gentle slope, and usually you can either claw your way back onto the track, or there's an exit downhill, and then there's 100 yards or so, 100 meters or so to the finish. So that's what Prescott looks like. Where is it in England? Well, it's near Cheltenham. So look at the map of UK, and you'll see in the middle and slightly to the left, near the city of Gloucester, town of Cheltenham. We're nestling in a fold in the Cotswolds. Cotswolds are that range of hills that stretch along towards the Malvern Hills, and the Cotswolds are blissfully pretty and great walking country. Now we've had to bring the Tonka toy and the trailer in order to get the Exige moved. Fortunately, it's not dribbling oil, thank goodness. Waffle House Groove tuning in from Connecticut. Welcome, and nice to hear from you. I hope you're enjoying it. We've got, well, it started glorious weather, pale blue sky. Now it's pretty cloudy, but that's okay, because we don't want it too hot. Martin Curtis from Chepstow, South Wales. He's another foreigner. I'm amazed at the incredible international audience. Awesome to see you guys here. Thanks, Martin. The whole thing is awesome, I think. Although it's a word I don't like very much. David Sargent, sunny Southampton here. Well, that's okay. You've got the breeze glistening on the Solent. And MW Garage, good morning from suburban Toronto. Well, morning in Toronto. I would have thought you were ahead of us, and it would be something like 3 o'clock in the morning, but I don't know. Erich Lausch, guten Tag, from rainy Lower Saxonia. Sehr schön von dich zu hören. Ich wohnte einige Jahre in Deutschland. Heinz. Yeah, so Toronto is five hours behind us, so breakfast time. Enjoy your breakfast. Bogdan, I went to Harewood because of this. Yeah, you see, it's got people very excited by hill climbing. I mean, a few years ago when I said my hobby was hill climbing, they said, you mean marching up hills in your muddy boots? I said, no. Canada coming to terms. Coming to terms with what? Lack of hill climbing, maybe. Hola from Portugal. Hola, Joe, and Portugal's lovely. Clonky. Is that a car? No, it's Clonky 64 from the Republic of South Africa. Heya! Do you speak Afrikaans or English? Corey Bingham, the trick is not to let people know how really weird you are until it's too late for them to back out. Yeah, I guess that's right. Are we weird for being so enthusiastic about hill climbing? Well, I don't think so. It's the purest form of motor racing because you're not bashing into other people. You're against your own previous best time. Henny Kruger, hello from Cape Town South. Lovely Cape Town. We spent Christmas there in the year 2000 and loved every minute. Down to George, down along the garden route. Hello from Argentina. Not guten Tag. Buenos dias. Argentina having a tough time. Kay Crib in, watching from a very overcast Galway Bay. Should have been there. Yes, you should have been. What's the matter with the car? It's not ready. We'll see if there's another meeting here later in the year. The interesting thing is that previously, championship from Prescott was always very early, either in April or very late in September. But because of a COVID delay, we have this treat of having HillClimb Championship in the middle of the summer. Good afternoon, tuning in from Western Supermare. Very interesting helicopter museum there. Jersey Motorsport. Hello from Jersey Channel Islands. Back again to watch the HillClimb action. Well done. Better than going for a walk. Hello from Myanmar. That's a tough place to be from. This is Tant Zorchit, Myanmar, again having a terrible time over the last few years. Slightly nearer home, Aaron, watching from Walsall. Always attend the Shelsley Walsh weekends. Well, we know you do. Yeah, that's right. So presumably you were there last weekend. Well, you should be here as well. Many greetings from the English mountain racing fans from Remscheid in the Bergisches Land. Armin Westenhofer, guten Tag, grüß Gott. Wo ist Bergisches Land? Ist das Norddeutschland oder Süddeutschland? Dallas, hi Dallas. We were having a discussion. There was somebody online looking at garden centres in England, saying we don't have garden centres in Dallas because we don't really have gardens. Nothing grows. Well, I'm sure that's not true. Shimeister 1062 watching from Perth, Australia. That's a nice city. That's a really nice city. Hello from Joburg, Matthew Belay from Johannesburg. Greetings from Guernsey. Good luck to all Channel Islands competitors. Thanks, Lee. DJ Lee, I think that's a familiar. Are you a competitor here? I'm not sure. There are 2 hill climbs every year from the Channel Islands. Boolie Bay is one of them. Western Australia here, well, we've just had Perth, so this probably is fairly near Perth. Ross Holland. All right in Australia, should be okay. The secret to unlocking an exige is to kick the wheels very hard, clearly. It's not easy. It must be the transmission that is seized solid. Or the engine. Well, maybe the engine, but the engine... HillClimb.TV. Well, you can see this. Welcome everyone. You have Rich doing the pictures and Ed trying to answer your questions here on the chat. I thought I was answering the questions, but I have competition. That was the biggest selection of messages to start our live stream that we've ever had. Brilliant. And from all over the place, thank you all very much indeed. Watching from a wedding because the hill climb is more important. Are you the bride? Superflower guy, no. Must be the groom. We've got movement from the exige getting hauled onto the truck, onto the trailer. Terry McKnight, hi from Northwest England. I enjoy the channel. Good for you. Hi from London. An early start to drive to Prescott tomorrow. Yeah, it's going to be a brilliant meeting. The entry is fantastic. Weather forecast is benign, and it's a very close run thing in the championship, with Matt Ryder leading by a couple of points from Alex Summers, but they're all dropping scores as you had to do. There we are, British Championship. Matthew Ryder on a net 128, Alex on a 126. Will Hall, who had some great runs at Chelsea last weekend, 105. Fourth, Trevor Willis. He's been champion 3 times, 94. And then fifth is Wallace Menzies. Wallace had a horrible accident at Craigantlett, but good to see both the car and Wallace in good form here today. Davey ran in the car that won the championship and held the record at Chelsea for a long time in the hands of Martin Groves. Seventh is Sean Gould, who builds these fantastic Gould cars, not dropping any scores, so a net of 75. David Warburton in a little baby Gould. They're all the same size, but baby from an engine point of view. It's got a really interesting engine. 4.5, it's a bike engine, of course, but it's 4.5 along the chassis rather than sideways across, and a very complex transmission geometry to line everything up. Do have a look at it. If you're here, do have a look at it in the paddock. Jack Cottrell in his relatively new car to him. Down in ninth, Paul Hames, who I think is going to get interviewed up on the stage a bit later on. His hands are shaking already. Richard Spedding has been very fast. I haven't seen Richard for a while. 18 points. Nick Saunders, 13. Alex Coles, who's come in mid-season and is incredibly quick. He's 19 years old. He's a lovely example of all the youngsters coming into hill climbing and immediately on the pace, on the bubble, and doing really well. Stuart Bickley, 10, and Darren Gumley is in 15th in the championship with 7 points. So as you can see up towards the top, it's a needle match between Matthew and Alex. Alex, lucky guy, is off to California this coming week to drive the incredible McMurtry, which has if you go online on YouTube, you'll find a video of the McMurtry demolishing the lap record at Castle Combe, and in fact it demolishes records wherever it goes. It's an incredible electric battery powered vehicle with fans sucking it down on the road, so it doesn't need aerodynamic aids in the form of wings and things like that. It has so much downforce. I think it has, I can't remember how much, but 250 kilos or more of downforce with the suction engine just ticking over. Unbelievable. And McMurtry have sent 2 Spirlings. Its name is Spearling or Sparling, which means a storm in Ireland. And they've sent 2 over to America to be seen in America and to test them in American conditions. They are in production with the McMurtry, and they are already selling both the production version and the track version as well. You'll probably have seen Max Chilton breaking the Goodwood Hill record 2 years ago. This year, Alex was driving it, I think, and they weren't going for a record again. But they had lots of people, potential customers, actual customers, people interested, and they did a lot of PR introducing people to the McMurtry. The blue one, which you'll see on YouTube, I think it's in the States at the moment, is road registered, so it's perfectly legal to drive it on the road. Just don't try and overtake it, because you won't win. Clerk of the course, Andrew, brings the Mini Cooper S down the hill. Just stopping, I'm not sure why, waiting for the trailer to come back out of the slot. And Zoe reluctantly gets out of the car and is wondering how to get home. So that's good. It means, well, I don't know how much time we've lost, but a good half hour. We are offering 4th practice runs if we get through in time, but that delay will have cost us a bit. But we are well ahead of the program at the moment. As you can see, the cars lining up to come out of the paddock gate to take their 3rd practice runs. Car number 31, really interesting. A Rover ZR, little 4-cylinder engine. You can pick those up for $2,500, I reckon. Maybe 3 for one in really good condition. And as a vehicle to start hill climbing, ideal. As is the Renault Clio and the Citroën VTI and stuff like that. And lots of our champions have grown up starting on little saloon cars. Steve Lovegrove. I grew up with hill climbing at Great Auckland in the 60s. HillClimb.TV is a brilliant enhancement to this wonderful sport. Thank you all. Yeah, Great Auckland outside Reading was unique in that it started downhill and had a banked first turn, and people like Rivers Fletcher used to zoom around the banking. I never competed at Great Auckland. My brother did. It was very short, but it was in a nice garden. So, Steve, you must be from somewhere, or must have been from somewhere near Reading. Okay, coming up to the line is 735, and 735, funnily enough, is a Mazda MX-5 with a carbon fiber roof. You can see the open weave, so I suspect it's not a Mazda part. This has got a substantial rollover bar where the back seats might have been. Somebody asked their daddy, what's that guy doing? What's he got on the end of that stick? Is it a mirror looking for bombs? Well, fortunately it isn't. Just a chop to stop the car rolling backwards. So here comes John Maycock. Off the line in a respectable 2.66, up to the line. Car number 29, Bruce Aitken in a Saxo VTS, again 16 valve, quick enough. Excuse the silence, I was just peeling off. We're in a fairly hot little booth just opposite the start line, and I had to disrobe slightly. Bruce Aitken, Citroën Saxo VTS. Andrew Feekins is just taken off in his Renault Clio 172 Cup. 2.73 off the line, not bad. Time for John Maycock, 50.81. Time before the break of David Wilson in the Elise, 48.98. Andrew scuttles around Ettores nice and quickly. Bruce Aitken will be getting very near the finish, 55.24. And we are in road cars, series production cars up to 2 litres. Class being led at the moment by Michael Thompson. And on the line, Lizzie Weaver, doyenne of the Weaver family. And I think she's inherited the Weaver genes, is because she's driving this Saxo extremely well. Takes off like a scalded cat. That's probably not a very good metaphor really for Lizzie. She's a nice girl. 2.81 off the line. Richard Pates still climbing. Andrew Feekins, 51.83. Lizzie lifts a rear wheel round part that shows she's exploring the limits. And a nice line into S's, nice line round Orchard and into at Torres comes Daniel Friel in the Honda Civic Type R. I keep saying if you can find a good one that hasn't been thrashed or put through the fence backwards, they make a very sporty, comfortable, reliable buy. We've got a time for Daniel Friel clicking up. Lizzie did a 60.5. 118 on the line. Moran Motorhomes 118. I'm sure it's for good reasons, but our numbers in the program go dodging all over the place. But 118 is Samantha Lester in the Van Diemen, except she's not. She's in the Peugeot 106 GTI advertising Moran Motorhomes. Great place to go and either buy or rent a motorhome from Roger or Scotty. Over, I think in Herefordshire, aren't they? Somewhere over there. Ludlow, Shropshire. Ludlow, Shropshire. I'm advised by my chief advisor, Chris Ponsford. Chris, have you come to commentate?
Well, I've no idea, so switched off. Yeah.
Notice Elise, Robert Wilson hustling it through and round Tom Road Corner. I was talking about Tom and the amazing work he did in restoring the canal system in this country, which is a great tribute to him. He was a great author as well. 48.01. Now then, is that a record? No, I don't think so, because Michael Thompson did a 47. Round part goes Simon Tarling, and off the line Robert Lancaster Gay in the extremely powerful Cayman. I thought a Cayman was a small crocodile of some sort, but I may be wrong. Simon Tarling heads for the finish. Robert heads for Pardon. Stephen Atkins on the line with this elegant 4-litre BMW M3. We're guessing that it's a V8 rather than a straight 6. Either way, they are brilliant engines. Great start, 2.61. And up to the line comes another Cayman. Robert has finished with a 48.68. Steve Atkins, how quick was he through? 65 after the bridge. Another Cayman on the line. Richard York. I have to call him Your Majesty, Richard of York. Here's the BMW. Wonderful road holding. That sounded like wheel spin, even in second gear from Richard York. Steve Atkins is finished with a 51.14. Duncan Andrews has got lots of power from this Cayman, I believe about 500 horsepower. And car on the line is number 46, Duncan Andrews. Now Duncan seems to be leading this class, did a 48.27 on his second practice run. So let's keep an eye on Duncan. Robin Holden is on the line with the Mazda Roadster, sharing the car. Here comes Duncan, nice, neat, tidy line through the S's. This is a very rapid Mazda. I think it can put up times to scare some of the Porsches. Duncan's finished with a 48.69, so not quite as quick as his second practice run. Here's Robin Holden. Can he get in the mid to upper 40s? Well, let's see his passage through the S's. Inch perfect. Wide entry into the exit from the S's, and then belting up and round the semicircle and records a 53.79. 49 on the line. Alan Mansfield in the amazing Toyota GR Yaris has sold like hotcakes, and not surprising. We missed James Stocks is off the line in his Yaris. This is Alan Mansfield on the screen. If you're watching the screen, James Stocks, 53.78. Class led in practice by Peter Richings, time of a 50.4. Wouldn't he love to be in the 40s? Here's Alan Mansfield. What can he do? And James Stocks as well. They're all very close, aren't they? Road cars, serious production cars, four-wheel drive of any engine capacity, so that's why they do very rapid 64 feet starts. That's 53.41 for Alan Mansfield. Peter Richings in the Golf R is surprisingly a lot quicker than the Toyotas. Okay, does the R have a V6 or is it? No, it's a 4, isn't it? But it's massively powerful. We seem to have a problem for Peter on the start line, but I think it's okay. Assistant clerk of the course hurries to make sure everything's all right. Now watch that. R off the line. That's quick. 2.21. Peter. He's going to try and beat his own 50.4 and get into the 49s. Wouldn't that be great? And on the line comes the big Porsche Cayenne. So Peter heads up towards the S's. He's going really quickly. Let's see. Passage through the S's. All the right lines. Nice exit from Tom Roth up to the semicircle. 48.99. Well done, Peter. That's a good advance on his previous run. Here's the Porsche Cayenne of Ross McDonald. And Joy Hoyle comes to the line, sharing, of course, with Ray Law. Do you remember she used to drive her own Caterham, bright pink with blue wings. Ross McDonald still climbing. Joy Hoyle, a nice start. 2.58. And Ross does a 54.68 in the Cayenne. Joy getting closer. She's into the S's. While on the line, off the line is Paul Evans, 2.9 for 64 feet. Up to the line, 7.55. Off the line, Paul Evans, 7.54. There he goes. Attractive colour, or is it a wrap? Is it a paint or is it a wrap? We don't know, but he's going well. Paul's car has a 2-litre engine. I'm guessing Vauxhall, but I could well be wrong. Wide approach into semicircle and up to the finish to record 50.55. 50.55 on the line, car number 56. Malcolm Hickey. That's a Caterham 7 with an 1800 engine. We guess Case is Rover, but we might well be wrong. Here's Malcolm Hickey rushing down the hill and then up into lots of arguments about the best line to take through Pardon. The great Roy Lane always used to say, keep about a yard from the inside bank. Malcolm straightening S's up as much as he possibly can. Will he get into the 40s? We shall see. In the meantime, Rob Lloyd again rushes up to and into Pardon. Malcolm 48.93, Rob Lloyd, and on the line Jerry Neary with a 2-litre Westfield SEI, using the minimum of revs, so no wheel spin at all, and Jerry did a start in 2.61, that's okay. 59 is Steve Garner, highly experienced. Westfield, 59. Again, the slightly over 2-litre, I think, GM engine, which might well indicate Opel rather than Vauxhall. Either way, he's off the start line in 2.52, and a Fisher Fury. You don't see many of those. This is Rob Brody, car absolutely immaculate. Exhaust coming out just in front of the left-hand rear wheel. There's Steve Garner rushing through S's, 40.06 here. He could well be in the 40s. In fact, I think he almost certainly will be. Yep, 47.41. Good run by Steve. Rob Brody. Looks as the handling's pretty good. Got quite a high ground clearance. But the wheels are occupying all the space in the wings. And Rob Brody, 36.27 in the middle of the S's, has to take 2 bites of the exit to the S's. Won't have cost him hardly anything. 42.72, might just get in the 40s. Not quite, 50.36. Here's an interesting car. This is the AMS Mutaya, which is all Subaru. Bits and pieces, engine, gearbox, axle, rear axle, front axle, 4-wheel drive system, brakes. You bought yourself a Mutaya body shell already wired up, and then you had to find the moving bits to go inside it. John Pick should get under the 50 mark. He does indeed. with a 47.58. Now, probably most of you have seen this car before. Andrew Russell, I think he's had this car for well over 40 years. Always immaculate, always beautifully prepared. Imp engine right at the back. Imp engine, basically Coventry Climax. Ginetta, there's an article in this week's, I think this week's or last week's Auto Car about Ginetta and the progress they've made from concentrating purely on competition cars and have introduced a range of road-going cars as well. Nice to see Martin Rutter in the Fiat X19. Here he is, rounding Orchard into Ettores. And this one obviously much modified and going like no X19 is meant to go. Time for Andrew Russell, 52.33. He probably does that time every time he comes here. It's no good asking him what his best ever time is. He'll say, well, I think it was in 1989, and I can't remember what it was. This is an interesting car. This is the Opel Tegra. What was the Vauxhall equivalent of that? It was a Vauxhall. Sorry, brain's gone. So this one much modified. Small rear window. The standard car had a wraparound rear window. Sold pretty well. Very much loved by the people who bought it. Imp. What more is there to say about Imps except they pretty much caused the death of the Roots group, thanks to various government ministers who insisted that it be assembled in Scotland, and so trains kept running from Coventry to Midlothian, and that added enormously to the time and the cost of building Imps, and they weren't very well built anyway. But this one's okay. 48.68, that's good. It's a very rapid car. Here's Simon Price in the Westfield. Or is it Ray Law? I don't think it is. Yeah, I think it is Ray going round. Pardon. Yeah, Simon Price hasn't started yet. He's the purple one just leaving the line. I'm slightly confused because Ray's car always used to be quite a bright green, but 48.26 anyway. Here's Simon Price, late braking into Ettores and a late apex, which is the right thing to do at Ettores. And Simon O'Sullivan takes off in the Elise as Simon Price. It's a battle of the Simons at the moment. 41.67 at S's, 48.78 over the finish line. Good time. Nothing wrong with that at all. Now then, hold on to your hats if you've got your hat on. This is Stephen Moore in the powerful, I think you could say, Evo 6, something like 600 horsepower, four-wheel drive, immensely quick. The closed car record at Chelsea got broken last weekend by Steve Bradley, broken by I think 7/10 or so. I don't know how long it had stood for. I haven't got a copy of the program with me. But Stephen is followed by Stephen Mogg in the very, very powerful TVR Griffith. You can tell by the 73 miles an hour on the exit to the bridge as compared with the Evo down at 71, having started much quicker. Interesting. My TVR was an early 4-litre Griffith, and on a bumpy corner it used to bounce all over the place. It was really quite scary. His Nigel Elliott 4.8 litre Rover engine, turbocharged. Nigel spent a lot of time rebuilding this car. It had a fairly nasty shunt. He's won a lot of classes with this. Paul Howes on the line with the green and yellow RSR. The RSRs make a lovely noise, as if you're here you'll have witnessed. If you're still watching on live stream, the more messages the better. This is a very clever, it's not paint, it's the green I think is a wrap, and it's a really interesting colour combination that I think works really well. What have we got? We've got Nigel Elliott doing a 51.5. I don't think he'll be very happy with that. Nigel is used to being way down in the 40s, but of course he's really bedding the car in after a long rebuild. Paul Howes the Porsche RSR round semicircle and records a 46.96. Phil Fisher brings the Westfield into the S's and disappears. Getting some interesting effects online. Here's Graham Manton in this elegant grey Westfield. We've got on the line car number 83. Einon Price is very quick in this Skoda Fabia. Einon, great single-seater hill climber, but now he's gone. Wow, he's gone to about the ultimate Yaris. Meanwhile, we're watching Graham Manton. 53.86 now. Watch Einon. He's quick, and he's going to be followed by maybe even quicker Roger Moran. Well, it's a needle battle between these two. Einon into the S's in the 28s, through the S's in 32. This will be a relatively low or mid 40s. Mid was what I said, 44.67. Can't get much midder than that. Now, what can Roger do about that? On the line is the first of our radicals. This is John McQuillan. What did Einon do? 44.67. Roger's won the HillClimb Championship, so he knows where he's going. Round semicircle 36. 43.32. Battle is joined because I think Roger was quicker than John was quicker than Roger on their first practice runs. Now we've got the radical of John McQuillan, and on the line the radical of Dave Bickley. Nice to see radicals coming into hill climbing. They've been on the circuits for a long time, enormously successfully, and they gradually appeared on the hills 2 or 3 years ago, and we've got a number of them competing regularly. John McQuillan, was that a 49? I think it was. John McQuillan, 49.34. David Bickley into and through the S's, takes a nice wide approach to the final exit from the S's. He'll be in the 40s. Will it be a low 40? Well, lowish, 46.85. Alan McDonald in this amazing Force SR. I think I think Ford's produced two-seater or nominal sports cars, of which this is one. And this one has broken records all over the place. And the third of our radicals, the Pro Sport, in the hands of Stephen King. What can Alan do in the force? He can do 44.35. That's really good. And I'm going to hand over to Peter Hughes, if I can find him. He disappeared for the moment, so I'll hang on. Rounding pardon is Stephen King in his Radical Pro Sport, followed by Matthew Price in the Radical SR3, just leaving the line with plenty of wheel spin but no drama, and Stephen King finishes with a 48.71. Now let's watch the Norma, which is on the line. For the moment we'll focus on Matthew Price in the Radical, but Duncan Barnes in the Norma is the car to compete in if you're doing European hill climbs. Hugely powerful Honda 3-litre engine, massive downforce. Can Duncan get in the 30s? I think that would be amazing if he can. I think the potential is in the car when Duncan gets really used to it. I think he brought it out last year, but it's pretty new to him. Graham Lokes is on his way with the Lola with the Porsche engine. Duncan 36.24 rounding semicircle. It's a low 40s, a 42.86. Good run. Now then, Graham Lokes in the flat 6 Porsche powered Lola T492, built for Series 2000 sports car racing, and it's very quick in Graham's hands. Plenty of power, nice lightweight. 80 is Ben Fisher in the yellow Westfield. 81 is Rebecca Manton. And Rebecca is waiting for the start. Ben Fisher's into the S's at 30.44. So who have we got? We got Rebecca and off the line Ben Hamer in this nice OMS 28. Rebecca in the midway and into the S's. Now rounding semicircle and records. No, she's in the 50s with a 51.16. 51.16. 799 on the line is Jonathan Flesher. OMS 28. I don't know how many 28s Stephen Linoan have built, but I should think it's getting on for 30 or 40. Ben Hamer finishes at a really good time of 41.31. The ambition of these guys to get into the 30s. Stuart Bickley in the lurid lemon yellow Force TA. These little hill climb cars built by these small companies are all beautifully engineered. Do have a close look at them, and of course all of them have other things to make. DJ make parts for racing bikes and wings. Gould make parts for Formula 1. So they couldn't exist on just making 2 or 3 hill climb cars a year. And wisely, they've all got great second lines.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name's Chris Ponsford, just taking over from Chris Druitt, and Peter Hughes will be along later on. Anyway, welcome to the live stream. Fantastic, this incredible service that Rich Danby brings to us with Eleanor, HillClimb.TV. Incredible to see our sport being promoted in this way. We're already up to about 14,500 viewers, I believe, subscribers. So please like and subscribe if it's your first time watching us. We are at the amazing hills called Prescott Hillclimb, owned by the Bugatti Owners Club. It's been established for many, many years. It's on an estate, and they are basically racing up a small piece of tarmac that, as you can see, is set in very rural countryside up a steep hill. They're achieving speeds of way over 100 miles an hour, and we are seeing cars that are pushing out in excess of 700 horsepower in the single seaters, which is amazing viewing. Now at the moment we've got Mike West on the hill. He's in the little Radical SRI. This is a car he shares with John McQuillan, and they represent Team Valley Motorsport, which is just up the road. And this is a little Radical car, so it runs a little motorbike engine in the back of it. So a little Suzuki Hayabusa 1300cc Hayabusa. As you can see, he's just exiting semicircle over to the finish. Does a time of 48.82. Jonathan Gething has just left the line in the OMS 2000. He's just come back to hill climbing. In fact, he's had a couple of years out of it, and now he's got this Kawasaki engine one, which is quite unusual actually. Most of them run the Suzuki GSXR engine in this class, but this one runs a Kawasaki engine. That in itself is unusual. Will Kerr and Ben Hamer also run a 750cc Kawasaki engine, but with a turbocharger, which puts it in the higher echelons of the 1100 club. So Jonathan, quick young driver, comes from Redditch, gets a bit sideways going into semicircle over the finish in a 43.05. Nigel Pitt just leads the line in his lovely little OMS 3000. He calls himself Shoestring Racing. Well, they're not cheap cars, these little cars. This one's actually got a carbon fibre tub on this one. Again, it's in the motorbike engine class, up to 1100cc. And he will be followed by Richard Walker in an OMS 2000, who's just leaving the line now. So this is a very hotly contested class. These are all practice times. These are unofficial runs in the respect that they are not timed, so it doesn't really matter today. They're trying to get their car in position to go really well tomorrow. Nigel Pitt finishes with a 41.10, and Richard Walker is on the hill at the moment in his OMS 2000M. So that's a car that was manufactured in the year of 2000 by OMS Cars, who are based up in York, and which is Steve Owen. Gary Warren just leads the line in his little Empire Evo. Richard's heading towards the finish. So Gary has come all the way down from Scotland. 44.15 for Richard Walker. Gary Warren on the hill in his Empire Evo. This is quite an early car. Notice the airbox on the top of the car. Looks rather spectacular, doesn't it? Slides it out of pardon there. Hard trying man from Scotland here. So he's travelled a lot of miles to come down here to compete. And he will be followed by a very exciting car, which is David Tatham, who's on the line in his DJ Firehawk. So Gary's heading through the finish in a 40.69. Dave Tatham in his DJ Firehawk. This is very quick. He is superbly quick driver. All carbon top, and he crosses it up at Itores. Just commentators curse. He's a very quick driver, but on this occasion he's had a big old rotational directional change. He's in the car, he's got the engine running, he's trying to find a few gears, and as you can see on these little single seaters, they're quite difficult to get out of a tight situation. So he says, oops, I've done it again. Who said that? Brittany? Oops, I've done it again. So anyway, David's feeling a bit fed up in the car. The marshals will come and sort him out. He's gesturing to them. Here comes somebody in some big boots and an orange suit and a big fire extinguisher. That's not needed. The marshals have just cleaned a bit of muck off the back of the tyres, because obviously the gravel probably got onto the thing. So now what are they going to do with him now? Are they going to send him back down to the paddock, because he's facing in that direction, and it'd be a failed run for him. It doesn't look like he's done much damage. He's just had a big spin, so he'll probably come back to the paddock. Here, he's showing it on the live stream now. He comes into there now, just a little bit too hot. Parks it very nicely though, doesn't he? So he is a farmer from Malton in Yorkshire. He's a strong man, you know, can carry sheep under each arm. He's strong. Don't upset him. Or his brother Pete. Pete's nearly a black belt in kickboxing, and also a 10 times champion in downhill boarding. World champion, by the way. So the Tatham brothers are like a pair of gunslingers, aren't they? Don't upset them. Anyway, here's me winding them up. They're good lads, really. They're good lads. Here he comes there. Head between his heads, thinking, oh, wow. This is what practice is for. No harm, no foul. Corey Bingham, yes indeed. Well, we've got viewers from all over. Subscribers, 14,263. Target, 15,000. Let's get that target for this weekend, folks. Like and subscribe to HillClimb.TV if you haven't already. Okay, so it looks like we're going to be back in action. As you can see on the live screen, you can see all the competitors watching. Alex Cole's there, I can see, hiding his face there. Hey, yeah, I can see you, Alex, you see? Yeah. Mrs. Weaver, hello, good afternoon to you. Not off, all right. Yes, hello, hi Helen. Yes, good to see you. Yes, and there's young Stuart Bickley next to him. They're like blood brothers, those two, this weekend, aren't they? They're both in the small car classes, both demon young drivers. Okay, I thought we were kicking off then. We got an Empire on the run. That, I think, it could well be. It could be Emma Rayson. Let me just have a look. Number 112. It is Emma Rayson in the Empire. Another bike engine car. She comes from the Channel Islands, so she's made the long trip from the Channel Islands. And she's, well off the line. She's 2.36 for the first 64 feet. And as you can see, as they go under the bridge, there's a speed trap there. And she was 74 miles an hour through the speed trap. I see why the Weavers are on the line. This is young Tom, I think. The black helmet, he's a bit like Stig in black, isn't he? Yeah, the black Stig. Anyway, young Tom. I'm saying it's young Tom because I don't think Richard's driving at the moment. Dad Richard, I think he'd done his foot in still. It is Tom Weaver. He's getting ready to go. One of our young hotshot drivers. Very rapid indeed. Comes from Ludlow. Works in the family business. Pretty handy on the spanners too, because they've got a garage business up there. So Dad Richard is not competing this weekend. Hopefully he'll be out again before the end of the season. They're sharing this car. This has probably been their quickest car to date. Will Kerr just leaves the line. This is the one that runs a 750cc turbocharged Kawasaki unit. Tom's making very nice progress indeed, going around semicircle, heading up towards the finish. Goes across the line in a time of 39.08, so sub 40. Will Kerr in the OMS. Beautifully turned out little car. They've had a few problems with it, they got it sorted now, and they're making very rapid progress up the hill. Tim Thompson sharing his car, the OMS 28, with Jonathan Flesher. Tim is making a return to hill climbing after many years out. He used to compete in big single-seater pilgrims back in the day, back in the 90s. Anyway, for many reasons, he had a time out, and now he's back sharing this car with Jonathan, this modern bike engine, very lightweight little single-seater, very good driver, and a lovely car. Turned out beautifully, immaculate, isn't it? So it looks like we've got some Formula Fords to follow. This well, it is Becky Crocombe in the Van Diemen's just shaping up on the line now. Tim Thompson through the S's now, heading up towards the finish, going to be in a time in the low 40s as Becky Crocombe leaves the line. She's from a farming background, and last time I spoke to her, she does a lot of running, she's super fit, loves her running, and got a lovely opportunity to drive this little Van Diemen. It's not her own car, but it's a super little car, and goes very well in it indeed. Kirsten Dodd on the line. Kirsten Dodd is actually the fiance of Matt Ryder, Carolyn Ryder's son, and Matt is our young hot shoe in the Gould, but Kirsten, they're getting married soon. And young Matt Ryder, he's 28 years old and he looks 18. I don't know, he's discovered the secret of eternal youth. I am very jealous, Bill, that's quite right. I wish I was 18, I wish I was 28, let alone 18. Unfortunately, those years are long gone. That ship has long since sailed. The trawler's well on the dock, gone rotten. But there we go. Yeah, just chatting there to Bill Pardo, who runs our Midland Championship. Jimmy Harris in the Van Diemen. He's already left the line. Jimmy's in the little blue Van Diemen with the white stripe on it as Les Buck comes to the line in the Prickett Mistral. 51.11 for Kirsten Dodd. Just going to have a slurp on my tea, folks. Do love a cup of tea. No Bollinger champagne for us in this box today. We're not allowed any champagne on duty. Obviously we drink it all the time and eat quail's eggs, smoked salmon every week, if you believe that. Anyway, excuse my quirky humour, folks. Us British, you know what we're like. So, Les Buck's well on the hill. Carol Nichols leads the line in her little Nike that her father built. But now we're getting into some quicker and quicker single-seaters. We have, looks remarkably like, either Darren Gumbley or Paul Jones there. It is Paul Jones, I think. And Carol Nichols on the hill. Les Buck has just finished with a very commendable 49. It's gone off my screen, 49 something. Carol Nichols off to the finish. Paul Jones just leaves the line in the Force TA. So we're starting to get amongst the single-seaters that are getting bigger in class. So we're in the 1600cc single-seaters at the moment. And Alan Warburton, dad of David Warburton, they are driving the Gould GR59 that's currently on the line. So Paul Jones is on the hill in the Force TA. Alan leaves the line. Again, a motorbike engine car with a Hayabusa engine, a 1600 Hayabusa. Runs on methanol. normally aspirated but runs on methanol. No turbochargers, no superchargers on that one. So Nick Saunders is on the line currently in the GWR Raptor. This is the car that he's sharing with Richard Spenning. I believe Richard owns this car. So Nick Saunders is having a play in it this weekend. As you can see, there's an orange sticker on the back of the tail, and that denotes it is running on methanol, and that is significant for the marshals, that if anything happens in the way of a fire, they know they're dealing with a methanol fire, which may not be easy to see. So they tend to put a dye in with the fuel these days. So as you can hear, these motorbike engines, they rev beautifully, don't they? So Nick Saunders in the Spedding car going extremely well. Isn't that a beautiful little car, that GWR Raptor? Graham White built that up in Scotland. And Graham White was responsible also for the Raptor that Richard Matosian has got with him today, which was the ex-Robert Kenrick car, which held the class record, still does hold the class record. Anyway, Nick is trying hard in the Raptor. He's already up to semicircle, going through to the finish. Finishes in a time as he cuts across the grass, puts the leaves up. He finishes in a 39.89. Andy Short is currently on the hill in his OMS carbon fibre 07 Suzuki engined OMS. Again, OMS well represented. OMS cars come from York. Steve Owen is the creator of those lovely little cars. Liam Cooper is just leaving the line in the little Force TA. These are built up in Lichfield in Staffordshire. Again, we've got several small manufacturers that produce these cars, and they're absolute little works of art, aren't they? Most of them tend to run the bike engines. They're small, very lightweight, and the further up the scale you go with the cars, the more carbon fibre you get for your money. So Liam Cooper well on his way through the S's. Mark Schlanker is on the line now in his Force TA, another Force. This one, it runs a 1600 Hayabusa engine in the back. This is the car that used to be owned by Einem Price, who's here today with his Skoda R5 rally car, which he'll be dicing up the hill with Roger Moran later on. Mark Slanker, anyway, he ran in the 1100 class previously, but he sold that car now. He's going very well in this car, really enjoying the extra power. John Stockley waiting to have a go. He's also in a Force PC. Again, a 1600cc bike engine job. We're in the class of racing cars over 1100cc up to 1600cc. Mark Slanker just heads off up to the finish and finishes in a time of 40.46 as John Stockley leaves the line in this immaculate little Force. So we've got Nicola Dearden in the Gould Delara, the F3394 Delara on the line. If you notice, it's very slim. We got a red flag. Andrew Henson comes to the line to see whether the car is stalled or they've stalled her. So Andrew comes to the line to see whether there's a problem with the car. I see why now. John Stockley had a problem up the track. So they're just dealing with that. So they've just held Nicola. So I missed that. You would have probably seen that on the live stream. And knowing my friend Rich, he'll probably replay that for us in a bit. And I can catch up with that bit. So I have the unique position of watching them off the start. They're blind to me once they go under the bridge. But I watch the thing. Soylent Green, New Deal Timeshare, join the chat. Well, good afternoon to you. We got a nice crowd building up, I see now, so that's good to see. And this is only a practice day. Just looking back into the paddock there, we've got some beautiful cars. I see Jonathan Varley in that lovely blue Predator. They're just showing that on the live screen now. Andy Bugard and various others, the Formula Renault car. John Stockley's just come back into the paddock now, so they'll start Nicola's car up very shortly. The red flag will come down and we'll be back racing shortly. So welcome to Prescott Speed Hillclimb if you've not been here before. Speed Hillclimb is owned by the Bugatti Owners Club, so that's rather nice in itself. If you want to join the Bugatti Owners Club, that's a great thing to do. The club welcomes all car enthusiasts, not just Bugatti owners, and currently has over 2,500 members, of which over 20% are from overseas. So always a good time to join the club. The benefits of membership are free spectator entry to all BOC Bugatti Owners Club organised events, monthly newsletters, reduced competitor entry fees, and members-only championships, exclusive range of club regalia, quarterly Bugatti magazine, and access to the Bugatti spares department. Lots of other things we can sort later as Nicola Dearden leaves the line in this lovely Gould Dallara, runs a Vauxhall 2-litre engine in the back which has got nearly 300 brake horsepower, so it's a very potent vehicle. So she's on her way now around Itores, so Itores is a long corner. She speeds down the dip there, and now we're going to a tight hairpin called Pardon Hairpin. Negotiates that safely. And then there's a little section now that runs up through towards the S's. Into the S's now. Round she goes. Then there's this very short, almost straight bit. And then it goes into a long right-hand corner called semicircle, which is quite blind. And also a sheer drop over the edge of it. Over to the finish. And she does a 52.87. Andrew Colborne in the Van Diemen, the RFO2 FX, runs a Peugeot engine in the back of that one. Isn't that beautifully turned out? Fabulous car, love it to bits. It's co-driven too with Aaron Colborne. Now the Predator is on the line, which you won't see just yet, but the Predator is being dual driven this weekend. So Jonathan Varley is sharing the Predator this weekend. And that in itself is a history car because it was built by Graham White Jr. It originally had a V10 Arrows Formula 1 engine in the back of it, which made it an absolute monster. Steve Marr is co-driving it this weekend. I don't know if it's just for today or both tomorrow. Either way, the Predator now runs a 2-litre Terry Davis V8 engine in it. So Terry Davis is one of our competitors here with Trish Davis, and basically it is a motorbike engine, 2 motorbike engines put together to make a V8 with a thing called a common crank. And don't ask me how you do that. All I know is Terry is a very clever chap. He makes these lovely little V8 engines which fits this car perfectly. And when Jonathan is actually currently leading the Midland Hillclimb Championship in this car. So it's a very potent combination. And it's the BMTR Motorsports Tyres Championship. There's another championship going at the moment too called the Wynn Developments, Graham Wynn's Developments Top 10 Challenge. And currently the leader in that is Graham Wynn, the boss man, the man that's sponsoring it in his Gould GR59. And Jonathan Varley is in second place with 81 points. So 84 for Graham, 81 for Jonathan Varley. Third place is Stuart Bickley with 48. So the two big guns, Graham Wynn and Jonathan Varley, are currently leading the way. So what have we got for you now? We have a lovely little Formula Ford on the line. This is Paul Harris in the little Van Diemen RF85. If you don't know about Formula Fords, they're basically 1600 Ford engine cars. They were bought in to sort of make affordable motorsport. It's very much a series. They've been going for absolutely years, from about 70s, possibly earlier. But anyway, they've got no aero on them whatsoever. They all run pretty much the same tyres, the same engines, and the quickest driver very often wins. Darren Gumbley gets ready to have his go in his little Force TA. Again, Hayabusa engine in the back, running on methanol. Very quick local driver. He's got a carpentry and joinery business, which he's very successful at. He's also a very rapid driver. Paul Harris goes through to the finish in a 52.11. As Darren Gumbley comes round Orchard, heading in towards Vittorious. Good line round there. So, oh, it's another commentator's curse. Well done, Darren. He spins it coming out of there, overcooks it. Right, David Warburton, or Alan Warburton, I think it's probably David, just coming to the line. So Darren, will he be sent back down the hill? No, he's going to carry on up the hill to the finish, and he'll come back down the return road, which means he is at Pardon hairpin. So David Warburton will be sent on his way pretty quickly. So as you can see, it's only practice day, folks, but already they're trying pretty hard. They're sort of reaching the limit of their adhesion. It is David Warburton. He is a real young hotshot driver. He's got in the top fives in runoffs in this little 1600cc Gould. My goodness me, he's going well too. He's absolutely flying. Just look at the speed trap, 101 miles an hour through Orchard speed trap. Richard Spedding comes to the line, and just Richard's put some sectors up here. He is absolutely on a mission, David Warburton. Could he set fastest time of the day? I don't know what the fastest time of the day so far in practice has been today, I don't know, but he's going to be in the 30s. 37.18 for David Warburton, gets his eye in. Richard Spedding, who's always super quick, comes from Barnsley in Yorkshire. This is another little Graham White Jr. Raptor. They're just beautifully built little racing cars, this. He's on the line now in his Force PT, just about to go. Richard Spedding heads towards the finish and finishes in a 37.62. Well, that's pretty respectable, isn't it? Very respectable indeed for practice time. And Andy Borgard, he leaves the line. He's from the Channel Islands, so what's happened here? Yeah, we've got him in view now. Here he comes now. He's on his way into Pardon hairpin. So he comes from the Channel Islands. He's got a little Hayabusa, which is bored out over 1600cc, so it's about, oh my goodness, takes a wide line through the S's, but gets away with it. Probably gave, oh, it's a little bit twitchy as well, coming out the S into semicircle. So Andy's on a bit of a mission anyway. Off to the finish, does a 40.66. Just looking down to the start, below the start there, I see the Formula Renault car coming to the line, the all red Formula Renault car. We do see this from time to time. Haven't seen much of it this season yet. Nevertheless, it's a rather fine looking bit of kit. Just chatting to my fellow commentator there, Peter Hughes. I'm going to do another 15 minutes and then Peter will come on and carry you through. The Formula Renault car, they haven't put the name of the driver up anyway. 837. Simon Barnwell in the Formula Renault Tatus 2000. So it's a 2-litre car running obviously a Renault engine. They were basically built for circuit racing, where there'd be a whole grid full of these, a bit like Formula Ford 2000, but this was Formula Renault. Anyway, he's on his way now. He's going to be up to a semicircle very shortly. He's going to finish in a time in the low 40s as Tim Elmer comes to the line in the Dallara F399. This is a beautifully constructed car, the Dallara. It's from Stratford-on-Avon. It's got a, I believe it's got a Terry Davis V8 in the back of it. It's all in blue. It's one of the best looking cars here today, and Tim drives it very well indeed. Look at that, doesn't that look good? Off he goes. And the quickness, the speed through the gear is incredible, isn't it? 85 through the speed trap. They can change gear in literally seconds. Sequential boxes. He heads up towards Pardon, so just looking back into the paddock, we've got Andrew Henson in the Dallara, comes up to the line and will be followed by Aaron Colborne, I think it is, in the Formula Ireland car. So Andrew drives the car very well. He's actually, his job is he sells racing cars for a living. And this car, I think it had an owner called, was it Nick Butterworth before, that car had done a fastest time of the day on a wet day somewhere. Anyway, Andrew, here he comes now. This is the one that runs a Vauxhall engine in the back, a 4-cylinder Vauxhall engine, pushing 300 brake horsepower, so there's a lot of power to weight ratio in that little car. So Andrew's well on his way now. He's heading up towards Itores. He goes through the speed trap at 89 miles an hour. Aaron Colborne in the Van Diemen. This is the ex-Formula Ireland car. The engine's been built by Maynard Engines. I've been saying it's running a Peugeot engine in that one all day, so I'm going to stick with that for the moment until I find out differently, but I believe it's MI16 16-valve engine. This looks like Jonathan himself. Jonathan the Predator. Beautiful car, car 135. Jonathan Varley currently leading the Midland Hillclimb Championship. A regular contender into the top 10. He's only got a 2-litre engine as against the 2.5 to 3-litre Goulds that we'll be seeing later on, but nevertheless regularly puts it into the runoffs. And I've seen him finish as high as 5th or 6th, which is no mean achievement in a 2-litre car against the massive power. Now, is this Alex Coles or Kelvin Broad? Could be Kelvin. So on the line we've got car 840. So it is Kelvin Broad. Kelvin comes from Exeter. He's co-driving the car with Alex Coles, one of our little hotshots from Plymouth, who we'll be seeing shortly. Alex has been absolutely electric in this car this year and has been getting into runoffs in a little 1300 supercharged Force TA, which is an amazing achievement. But Kelvin, he was the original owner of this car, and he basically sold half the car to Alex Coles and his dad. So they own half each. I don't know who owns which half, I don't know, but either way, got a little bike engine in the back of it, goes fantastically well. Paul Alexander in another Force. There's a good collection of Force cars here today. So these are the ones that are built up in Lichfield. Beautifully constructed little cars. I remember Will Hall had one of these Forces before he bought his big Gould. And he's driving the Gould. He's getting some fantastic results in it, and the car's been really good too. Jamie Chalmers, son of John Chalmers in the Rolt. This is a very rapid thing. Motorbike, turbocharged, Hayabusa, got about 400 horsepower, extremely rapid. Jamie was driving a Mazda MX-5 last year, and now he's driving the big single-seater and loving it. That looks remarkably light. Car 843, Will Lockridge. He comes from Northern Ireland. He's currently working over here at the moment. He's a joiner by trade, another man in the woodworking trade. Here's Will Lockridge. This is the Works Empire Wraith that's built by Bill Chaplin down near Taunton. Again, this one runs a fantastic Hayabusa in the back, and I think they've got a turbocharger or a supercharger on the back of it. It runs on methanol. It's only a 1300, but by goodness me, is it quick, absolutely rapid. Will actually won the Northern Ireland HillClimb Championship a while back, so he certainly knows how to pedal a hill climb car, and he was extremely rapid when I saw him last weekend. Pete Tatham, here comes Pete Tatham, comes to the line now in his OMS 28. So Will Lockridge, oh, is he still going? Yeah, he's still going. He's going around semicircle, just a little break on the screen then. Through to the finish in 40.03. Pete Tatham leaves the line in the OMS 28. Very rapid driver indeed, comes from Yorkshire. He's one of the brothers Tatham. The old gunslingers from Yorkshire. Family farm, they've got a farm up there. George Tatham was their dad. He used to race the big Can-Am McLaren, which we do get to see now and again when Pete brings it out to play. So Pete Tatham, car 144. And Paul Hames is on the line in the Gould GR59, another bike engine car running a turbo. Extremely rapid driver, regular top 10 runoff car. He goes 108 through the speed trap. He's into Torres now. When this car is on song and he's driving well, it's a real contender. Very quick indeed. The little turbocharged engine is just so fast, so high revving, so quick. And with the Gould chassis and the Gould GR59 bodywork, it is one potent little weapon. Ian Tucker leaves the line in the OMS 28. Again, another Hayabusa engine job, a 1600 Hayabusa. He comes up from Cornwall. Long travelling competitor, regular competitor too. All these competitors, they travel all over the British Isles, competing in the British Hillclimb Championship, which actually goes to Northern Ireland, it goes to the Channel Islands, it goes to Scotland, to Doon. So he's through the S's already. Bernie Kevill leaves the line in the OMS 28. So we're well represented with forces, with OMSs, with Gould cars. We've got the Firehawks, the Firestorm, which is what Alex Summers drives. And looking at, so Bernard Kevill, he's on his way. And then Lynn Owen driving the factory OMS 28 RPE, Radical engine and the back of Radical V8 in the back. Lynn Owen is the husband of Steve Owen, who manufactures these cars. And currently he's made way, I have to get the exact figure of him, way into the hundreds anyway, so he's a very busy manufacturer. The white helmet there gives away Sandra Tomlin on the line in her Pilbeam MP97 as Lynn heads up towards the S's. Sandra in her own 2013 Pilbeam MP97, one of the last of the Pilbeams built for hill climbing. Runs a 4-litre Judd V8 engine, which you'll see very shortly. So Lynn finishes in a 46.39. Sandra is well on her way, and on the line we have Mr. Gould himself, Mr. Sean Gould, in his Gould GR59. This is the car that he's sharing with Matt Ryder. Matt Ryder has been breaking hill records galore in this car this year, and currently leads the championship by 2 points from Alex Summers. But this is before countback. So anyway, Sean, always quick. 40 years of Gould technology gone into that car. That car is now, they've been going for exactly 40 years. They're celebrating it this year. So Sean Gould, he holds the hill record still at Shelsley Walsh. He held it at Loton Park as well. I don't know if that's gone by now. I think that might have been beat. Anyway, Sean Gould's still an incredibly rapid driver. But what a car. Judd V8 in the back, 4 litres of power, about 700 horsepower, going around semicircle up towards the finish. And he's gone through the line in a 36.98. That's one of the quicker times today. as Richard Summers leaves the line in the AFS P4T. This is the car that was built by the Summers family over 7 years. It took to build this car. They built it basically in their garage. It's got all the right technology on it, and Alex Summers is a car engineer, race car engineer. They built all the wings out of carbon fibre. They put a German V6 Opel engine in the back, 2.5 litre Opel engine, and now the car is getting into runoffs and competing very well indeed. Now I'm going to be handing over very shortly to Peter Hughes, as Simon Barnwell is on the hill in the Formula Renault Tatus 2000. I'll say goodbye to you now, and Peter Hughes will be taking over.
Of the really powerful single-seaters at the moment, and on the line, just going off the line in fact, is car 8, that's David Ewan in the Gould GR55B 3.5 litre machine, already making its way up towards the Torres. And 7 miles an hour under the bridge. Graham win was 38.92. And just coming round semicircle up under the finish line, 37.58 then the time for the Gould. Just a little bit of a lull, waiting for more cars to come down now onto the line. And up comes car 140. That's Alex Coles in the Force TA. The forced induction engine, 1340cc. And away goes Alex. He hits 96 miles an hour underneath the bridge. As up to the line now comes 141. Richard Alexander in the Force PC. As Alex Colt goes into Parton. Really tricky left-hand hairpin. On up then through towards the S's. Into the S's. And then it is on up to semicircle. As Richard Alexander gets away in the other four, so Alex Coles goes under the line to be caught at 39.31. Out onto the hill is coming car 142, John Chalmers in the Rolt F302 001, 1420cc the motor in this. line now, and he does a 43.76 as John Chalmers prepares to get away and off the line. And coming up now, car 146. Andrews then in the OMS 28, the car that he is sharing with Bernard Keevil. Next up onto the line will be car 147, Stephen Owen in the OMS 28 RPE, 2.7 litre machine. .72 was John Chalmers' time. What will Simon Andrews be able to record as he comes around semicircle under the line? 41.15. Away goes Stephen Owen. Onto the hill now. It is car 149. And that is Morgan Jenkins in the Pilbeam MP97. This car nearly 30 years old now, but still very, very usable. 40.22 then for Stephen Owen. What can Morgan Jenkins do? He heads away. And we see car number 6, Trevor Willis in the OMS 28, 3.2 litre car. Morgan Jenkins heads to Pardon. Time was a 40.22. Morgan Jenkins coming towards the end of his run now, and under the line he does a 40.20, so just 200s different from the car ahead of him. Next up it is going to be car number 5. William Will Hall in the Gould GR59J. What can Trevor Willis do on this run? He's coming towards the finish line. He's done a 37.43. He went under the bridge at exactly 100 miles an hour. And that's the end result as Will Hall goes away in his Gould. Under the bridge at 109 miles an hour. Ready around the Torres, on up towards Pardon. And gets it a little bit wrong. I don't think he made contact with anything, but he has spun it at Pardon. Looks like he's going to opt to come back down the hill, possibly. He hasn't actually been told by marshals that's what he should be doing yet, I don't think, anyway. No, he's stopped now. Don't think there was any contact. He was very, very close to the tie wall on the outside of Pardon, but I don't think he hit it. And back off the line, it is car number 4. So Alex Summers was about to come up the hill. Have to wait a little bit longer in the DJ Firestorm. But Will Hall then coming back down the hill, taking the short circuit, the circuit that the Vintage Sports Car Club was using here a couple of weeks ago, rather than going all the way around to Torres and then back. He comes under the bridge, he'll go into the paddock. It doesn't appear to be any damage at all to that car. Possibly a little damage to pride, but not too much else, I don't think. But I think we could be okay pretty quickly now to continue the practice runs. And the red flags come in, and Alex Summers should be coming up to the line in the DJ Firestorm any second now. He's on the line, and Marshall's just making sure that he's in exactly the right spot. And we are ready then to get back underway by the looks of it. What can Alex do in his campaign for a British Hillclimb title this year? Under the bridge he goes at 108 miles an hour, just 1 mile an hour slower than Will Hall went under it. He's around the Torres very cleanly. And that little left-hand kink on up towards Pardon. He's safely out of Pardon. Continuing on up to the S's. This is looking like a very clean run. Oh, a little bit of a slide there out of the S's, but into semicircle round that long right-hander under the line, and he does a 36.27. Next up onto the line, it is championship rival Matthew Ryder in the Gould GR59 4-litre engined machine. A car which Sean Gould is also using, of course. Away goes Matthew. Only 98 miles an hour under the bridge. I say only, but that's about 10 miles an hour slower than Alex. He's into the Tories out of there. Up to Pardon he goes. A little bit wide on the exit, Pardon, but he's okay. Through into the S's then goes Matthew. Around a semicircle, and he does a 35.85. So very nearly half a second quicker than Alex Summers on that run. Wallace Menzies sits on the line in the Gould GR59M. And away he goes. Under the bridge at 101 miles an hour. And on to a Torres. Throws it out with the hairpin. Continues on up then to Pardon, to the left-hander. Doesn't appear to be making up time on his previous practice run at the moment. Through the S's he goes. Round semicircle. What's the time going to be? 36.67. So certainly in contention. A little bit slower than Alex Summers and Matthew Ryder, but nevertheless well in contention with the timed runs ahead tomorrow, of course. So Matthew Ryder with the quickest time in practice so far for the racing cars over 2 litres, that's a 35.85. Then it's Alex Summers with his 36.04, so about 2 tenths between them. And then Wallace Menzies, 36.34, just 400s behind him. It's Sean Gould with the 36.38, and Will Hall at 36.57 on his first run. Unfortunately, a spin for him on the second run. And those are the top 5 overall times as well. Paul Hames in that turbocharged 1300cc motorcycle engine machine is in 8th place overall after 2 practice runs. he's just 300ths of a second quicker than David Ewan and 900ths quicker than Richard Spedding. So you can see just how tight this is, how competitive it is. The top 10 are separated by less than 2 seconds here in practice. If you're watching on the live stream, don't forget to give it a like. So we now move on to the older machinery, and we move into Class M, the sports racing cars manufactured up to 1971 inclusive. And the first one that we see, car 157, Andy Tippett in the 3.5 litre Brabham BT30X. Away goes Andy then. And up comes the smaller engine Brabham, the BT21 1600cc machine of Martin Jones, car number 158. Out of pardon as Martin gets off the line. That BT30 is into the S's. Looking to improve on a 45.74, can't quite do it. 45.97 for him as around pardon goes Martin Jones, who's best time so far was on his second run with a 47.22. Can he better that as he goes into the S's? And off up the hill has gone John McKenzie in the Ford Cortina. Round semicircle 4. Martin up to the finish line. And again, he's down a little bit on his second run time, so that's the time that his best time so far, 47.22, as John McKenzie is looking to improve on a 58.69 in the Cortina. Meanwhile, Peter Herbert leaves the line in the Porsche 911, as through the S's goes John McKenzie. And semicircle up to the finish line. And he does improve, and improves significantly with a 56.02. As Peter Herbert heads up towards pardon. Peter's best run so far was in his first practice run with a 50.16. Mike Tower sits on the line in his Mini Cooper. Porsche in the S's. On up to semicircle around there, heads towards the finish line, and once again a 50.31, better than his second run but not as quick as his first, as Mike Tower rounds Ed Torres. Next off the line, just leaving now, Tom Mikey Rossi in the Porsche Boxster S. For the time that Mike Tower is looking to better as he comes into the S's. Tom Mikey Rossi meanwhile rounds pardon. Mike Tower not able to improve on his second run time. Jonathan Elwood is on the hill at the moment in the Honda Civic Type R, and Steve Parry's Mazda MX-5 sits on the start line. What can Tom Mikey Rossi do? Can he get better than that? 54.31 from his second run, And again, the answer is no. It's not much different. It's a 54.59, but just like a couple of tenths slower as Jonathan Elwood goes out of Pardon. The time he's looking to better is his 55.75 on the first run of the day. Rob Guttridge is on the line in the Renault Twingo 133. Smoky there for the Master MX-5. Steve Perry as he came out of Pardon. Jonathan Elwood then still relying on his early run of 55.75 as his best time. In practice, of course, the timed runs, the ones that really count, all taking place tomorrow. Steve Perry comes towards the finish in his MX-5 and does set a better time with a 58.56, a points half a second over his previous best. Tim Stokes is on the hill in the Suzuki Swift Sport. As through the S's goes Rob Guttridge. Richard Morris sits on the start line in the Mazda MX-5. Rob Guttridge coming around the semicircle. 64.09, he's looking the better. 64.59, exactly half a second slower than his second practice run. As Richard Morris heads away in the Mazda MX-5. Up to the start line comes the Alfa Romeo 4C of Will Goff. Coming towards the finish is Tim Stokes in the Suzuki Swift Sport. And he's over a second down on his best time, which was a 57.29 on his second practice run. Richard Morris out of Pardon, looking to better 60 seconds dead, which he did on his second practice run, so aiming to get under the minute mark. Will Goff has left the line in the Alfa Romeo, and it's the Morgan +8 of Patrick Hadley that sits there now. What's Richard Morris going to do? He's in under the minute. He's just done a 59.28, his best time of practice so far. Will Goff out of Pardon. He's done a 55.88 on his second run, which is a big improvement on his first run. So can he improve any more now on run 3? Up to the finish line, 55.66, so another couple of tenths knocked off his time as Patrick Hadley heads away in the Morgan +8. And it's the Audi TT that comes up to the line next, car 182. Up to Pardon, then comes Patrick Hadley in the Morgan +8. Steve Hodgkins sitting on the line in his Audi TT. Through the S's goes the Morgan. It looks like this could be quite a quick time for him compared to his previous times, which was a 54.74. Can he improve on that? A 54.59, so yes, he does knock over a tenth of a second off as Steve Hodgkins comes up to Pardon. Not improving so far on his 56.37, his second run. Mike Dockery is on the line in the Subaru STI. Away goes the Subaru. Steve Hodgkins then runs to the line. Can he better the 56.37? No, 58-second run, in fact, so significantly down on his second run time. Mike Dockery there coming out of Ettores on up towards Pardon as George Perks sits on the start line in the Renault Clio 182 Cup car. Mike Dockery was quickest of the New Barn RS Interclub Speed Championship cars with his first practice run, which was a 53.93. George Perks was second quickest with a 54.26, which he did on his second practice run. Mike Dockery not able to improve on that first run time, in fact. So that's the one he relies on to be quickest in practice at the moment. Christopher Heritage is on the hill now in the Dax Rush. George Perks a little bit down on that third run, then 54.95, so his best time still that second run time of 54.26. Jacob Barrett is also on the hill now in the Mazda MX-5. Mike Brakes in the Ford Fiesta ST150 sits on the start line. Can Christopher Heritage improve on his first practice run time, 56.67? Yes, he can. 2/3 of a second knocked off that. 56.01 for Christopher Heritage. With Mike Brakes on the hill, we see the 190 car of Aaron Bland at Abath 124 come up to the line. That, I think, will probably be the last of the first or third practice runs. Jacob Barrett does a 57.92, a 1/10 of a second down on his best time as Mike Brakes comes around Pardon. And Aaron Bland is on the hill in the Abath. Mike Brakes then through the S's. Like to improve on his second practice run time, which was a 60.97. What can he do? No, it's a 61.27, so 3/10 slower than his second practice run. Aaron Bland coming through the S's now. He's fifth quickest in this in the New Barn Championship at the moment with a 55.21. What can he do now? He can move up to fourth quickest, in fact ahead of Patrick Hadley with a 54.47 second run. That completes the third practice run, and Clerk of the Course heads up the hill to check everything out, and then I think we will be starting a bonus fourth run for those who want it. Richard Young is currently watching from an oil tanker in the Caribbean, just passing the Cayman Islands. And he said has to get his hill climb fixed if he's not able to compete. Well, I think this one or two might want to swap actually with a trip to the Cayman Islands, although I know it's not a holiday. You're working on the oil tanker. But it's good to have you with us. Hope you're enjoying it. Somebody else brilliant being able to see this. Went up the hill earlier this year with piston heads. Well, hope you enjoyed your trip up the hill, and I hope you'll be back to do it again in the not too distant future. But in the meantime, enjoy watching the action this weekend. Don't forget to subscribe to, if you're watching online, don't forget to subscribe to HillClimb.TV if you haven't already done it. Yeah, the sector colours, you can tell from the colour that the time lights up in whether it's an improvement or not on previous times. Spin Records is enjoying the Metro. That's the I presume you mean the Mitsubishi engine. It's got the engine out of a Mitsubishi 3000 GT in a 6R4 style body shell. It does look good, it sounds good, and it is quite quick as well. Looks like the clerk of the course is on his or her way back. I'm not sure which of our clerks it is, but they're on their way back down the hill. And the red flags come in as they pass each marshal's post, and we should see some action. I think we're going to be starting with David Garnett in the Fiat Abarth 595 very shortly. So the clerk of the course car back with us, and we will be starting once again in just a moment or so, I think. And we will be starting again with the Bugatti Owners Club handicap and the saloon cars competing in that handicap. And as I say, the first one out onto the track is Ethan Brayshaw in the Mini Cooper S 2-litre machine. No, it's not. Try that again. It's David Garnett in the Fiat Abarth 595, which is what I said originally, and why I decided it was going to be something completely different, I'm not too sure. But anyway, David Garnett is on the line then, car number 21. And away goes that Fiat Abarth, and then the Metro, the Rover Mitsu Metro 6R4 replica of Peter Knight's car number 22, which you may have heard a little bit earlier, is actually up for sale if you're interested. No idea what the price is. I'm sure you can find out if you are really interested. Up to, then goes David Garnett in the Abarth. Away goes the Mitsu Metro, and along comes one of my personal favourites, the 1960s Fiat Abarth 850 TC. Engine cover at the back propped open, as is normal with these cars. Surrounding pardon in the Mitsu Metro. No improvement for Peter Knights on his second run time of 49.98. John Barber did improve. Now that's John only done 3 runs. David Garnett is leading on handicap at the moment. When I say leading, these are only practice times, of course, so they're academic in that sense, but if these were timed runs, or competitive runs, he would be leading on handicap at the moment. Peter Baker is on his way up the hill in that raceful Daimler Conquest. He's looking to improve, and he's gone quicker each of his first 3 practice runs. Can he keep up that trend as he comes to the S's? And away goes David Wilson in the Lotus Elise. Baker does keep up his record because he's just done a 73.05, his best time by half a second of the practice runs. David Wilson is on the hill in the Elise. On the start line is John Maycock in the Mazda Roadster, car 735. Semicircuit goes David Wilson and does a 48.75, so just 400ths down on his best practice time, which was on the second practice run when he did a 48.71. John Maycock would like to better his 50.76 that he did on his second run. Bruce Aitken sits on the line in the Citroen Saxo VTS, and away he goes. Then goes the Mazda of John Maycock up to semicircle, and he well, just a little over a tenth of a second down on his best time of that 50.92, 50.76 on his second practice run, his best time of the day. Aiken looking to improve on a 55.24. Andrew Feekins is on the hill in the Renault Clio 170 Cup car. What can Bruce Aitken do? He comes towards the finish line, and he does by exactly 100th of a second. He betters his previous best practice time by 100th of a second of 55.23 then for Bruce Aitken. Plates is on the hill in the MG ZR 160. On the start line we have Lizzie Weaver in the Citroen Saxo VTS, as Andrew Feekins comes around a semi-circle, wants to better a 51.83, isn't able to do it. 52.45 his time, so his third practice run was the best time he's done so far, that 51.83. Leslie Weaver is on her way up the hill. Daniel Friel in the Honda Civic Type R is on the start line. Leslie Weaver there rounding Torres, going on up towards Pardon. Richard Pate's best time to date is a 60.27. No, it's a 59.15, but he's just done a 59.45. So he hasn't matched his first practice run time. Daniel Friel is on the hill in the Civic. Jonathan Langmead in the Lotus Elise is on the start line. Lizzie Weaver coming towards the end of her run. And a big improvement for Lizzie with a 57.29 compared to her best prior to that of a 60.48. Over 3 seconds round there. As Jonathan Langmead rounds Torres in the Lotus Elise 135R. Samantha Lester on the start line in the Peugeot 106 GTI. Daniel Friel is 100th of a second slower than his previous best, which was a 52.45. Samantha Lester coming up towards the Torres in the Peugeot 106 GTI. Simon Tarling in the Porsche 996 GT3 is on the start line. Jonathan Langmead unable to improve on his 48.08, and that remains his best practice time for Simon Tarling on his way up the hill in the Porsche. Sam Lester pushing it through the S's, and the Porsche on the line now, and that's the Cayman GT4 of Robert Lancaster Gay. And Simon Tarling comes out with Tories. Sam Lester does a 52.98. That's a big improvement for Samantha. Again, she finds something like a second and a half. Away goes Robert Lancaster Gay. Simon Tarling coming through the S's. Up to line is the BMW car number 44 of Stephen Atkins, the M3. Simon Tarling does his best time of the day, 51.55 seconds then for the 996 GT3. As around Pardon goes the Cayman of Robert Lancaster Gay. Looks like he's putting in some good sector times now. Stephen Atkins gets away in the BMW M3. Robert Lancaster Gay does a 48.44, and he's found another couple of tenths. Remains in second place in the road cars series production cars over 2 litres. Richard York goes away in the Cayman, but meanwhile the BMW M3 of Steve Atkins is coming through the S's, looking to improve on a 51.14. As Richard York goes into Tories, and Atkins does improve with a 50.40, his best time of the day. Duncan Andrews in the Porsche Cayman, number 46 on the line at the moment. He is quickest in class so far in the practice runs. With a 50.49, 700ths of a second slower than his best practice time, which was on practice run 2. James Stock sits on the line in his Toyota GR Yaris. Away goes the Toyota. It's through the S's comes the Porsche Cayman. Can he better that 48.27 that he did on his second practice runs? He comes round semicircle up to the line and does a 48.05. So yes, he's found nearly a quarter of a second improvement, and is still quickest in class, of course. James Stock's heading up towards Pardon now. Alan Mansfield sits on the start line in his Toyota GR Yaris. Stock's best time so far, 53.50. Goes around semicircle up to the finish line and is a 53.80, so 3/10 down on his best practice time, which came on his second run. As Alan Mansfield heads around Pardon. Peter Richings sits on the start line in his VW Golf R. So we're moving upper class with Peter. fact, no, we are staying in the same class. I mean, Peter is the quickest so far with his 48.99 on his third run. Ross McDonald gets away in the Porsche Cayenne. Semicircling of Peter Richards in that Golf. Up to the line and a 50.37, so down on his best practice time of 48.99 as the Golf rounds pardon. So the Porsche Cayenne rather is through the S's. Looking to better 53.88. Robin Holden is out in the Mazda Roadster, number 35. He goes into pardon. Ross McDonald not able to improve on his earlier practice time. Troy Hoyle sits on the line in the Caterham 7 Super Sprint car, number 753. Robin Holden's time is a 53.62, so that's his best time of the day. As Joy Hoyle runs, Torres goes on up towards pardon. Paul Evans sits on the start line in the Westfield SEIW car 754. So we are in the road cars, specialist production cars category, Class B. Joy Hoyle looking to better a 49.33 as into Torres comes Paul Evans in the Westfield. Richard Price is on the line in his Caterham 7. He's quickest so far in practice in this class. Richard Price then rounding Torres. Paul Evans just a 51.59, so about a second slower than his third practice run time. Malcolm Hickey is on the line in the Caterham 7, as into the S's comes Richard Price in his Caterham 7. And on the line now Rob Lloyd in the Westfield SEIW. So Richard Price, who is fastest in this class so far, but that was with the time that he set in his third run, because he's 0.03 of a second slower on his fourth run, so pretty consistent to say the least. Jerry Neary in the Westfield SEI is on the line as Rob Lloyd ran to Torres. Malcolm Hickey coming towards the end of his run, and he jumps up the order with a 47.85. That makes him fourth quickest in his class in practice. Jerry Neary is away, and Stephen Garner is on the line in the Westfield SEI as Jerry Neary heads into Torres. Rob Lloyd do? Well, he's down nearly a second on his best practice run time, which was on run 3. He did a 48.64. Steve Garner heads off then in the Westfield. And up to the line comes car number 62. And Steve Garner ran to the Torres. He does a 53.24, his best run of the day. And the Fisher Fury of Rob Brody heads away. Next across the line will be Stephen Garner, who's second quickest in this class. Practice so far has gone quicker with a 46.85. Remains second quickest compared to Richard Price's 46.69. But of course it's the times recorded tomorrow that actually count. Rob Brody, 50.36 is the time he's looking to improve on in the Fisher Fury, as Andrew Russell is about to leave the line in the Ginetta G15. Brody then coming up to the line does a 49.09, his quickest time by over a second in practice. Andrew Russell heading into Pardon on the line. A type of car that I've always liked as a sports car, the Fiat X19. This is the one of Martin Rutter. Much modified Fiat X19, this one. And he is away. Russell does a 52.48, so that's 0.8 slower than his best run, which was his second practice run earlier today. Eric Murray in the Hillman Imp leaves the line. And up to the start line comes car number 70. Simon O'Sullivan with Lotus Elise as the Imp goes around the Torres. The X19 close to the finish, into better a 54.69 and does it with a 54.20. Eric Murray quickest in class so far in practice. Simon O'Sullivan is on his way up the hill. Up to the finish line comes Eric Murray. And he goes quicker again by a couple of tenths. He does a 48.16. As Simon O'Sullivan heads up towards Pardon, Stephen Moore sits on the line in his Mitsubishi Evo 6. And away goes the Evo. Looks like Simon O'Sullivan's putting in some good sector times. We have a TBR on the start line now. Rounds. Torres on up towards Pardon. 50.24, so over half a second found by Simon O'Sullivan on that run. The TVR is the TVR Griffith of Stephen Morgan. He's on his way up the hill. We're in class C3 now with Stephen Moore in the Evo 6. He's quickest in class so far. His third run was a 45.28. Mark really powering that TBR away up towards Pardon. So Stephen Mark then in the Griffith. Heads up into semicircle up to the line. And it's a 48.07 for Stephen Mogg, his best time of the day. Nigel Elliott's on the hill in the Triumph TR7 V8. And on the start line is Paul Howells in the Porsche 911 RSR. Paul with his 46.96, second quickest in class in practice so far. Away then goes the 911 RSR. Nigel Elliott coming towards the finish of his run, 50.49, his best time so far today. Howells is rounding Torres. And Nigel Elliott with a 50.33, again improving on his earlier practice runs. 4 on the start line in the Caterham 7 Super Sprint. What can Paul Howells do? He goes underline and he knocks 300ths of a second off his previous best with a 46.93. Maybe low in that Caterham 7 Super Sprint, coming up to Ettores now. Now in the road cars, specialist production cars class. Is on the hill in Westfield SEIW. As Raymond Law comes towards the end of his run, will record a 48.23 again, just 300s quicker than his previous practice run. But nevertheless, going in the right direction as we head towards tomorrow's timed competitive runs. Graham Manton leads the line in the Westfield FW. Very interesting looking car coming up onto the line. There's Manton around Ettores, and it is the Opel Tigra of Ian Sargent that sits on the line on car 67. Simon Price down a little bit on his previous best, which came on practice run 3. Now looking at cars in the modified cars specialist production category, starting with Graham Manton, whose best so far is a 52.55. He comes up to the line and does a 52.30 to improve on his previous times. Ian Sargent then sitting on the start line. Is there a problem possibly with his harness not being fully done up or something? The clerk of the course there checking things. I think we're okay now, we can get things underway. The door is shut by the marshal. Still trying to get the car perfectly lined up, but I think we're just about there now. And away goes Ian in the Tigra. Thanks to 1493 Fabio for subscribing to HillClimb.TV. Ian Sargent then comes around Ettores as Einan Price lines up in his Skoda R5 Fabia. So, lovely looking car this. Hugely experienced Einan Price, has competed in single seaters in the past, now in this rally inspired Skoda Fabia. He goes away off the line. We're in class C1 modified cars, production cars up to 1400cc, real drive. But not for Einan, of course, what's Ian Sargent's class. And he has found a couple of tenths, goes on 3 tenths very nearly, goes up to 58, down to 58.48. Einan Price then is running in the Sports Leader Saloon cars along with Roger Moran. His best time so far has been a 44.67. John McQuillan is on the hill now in his Radical SRI. 44.40 is an improvement for Einan Price, still about a second down on Roger Moran though, as John McQuillan heads to Baden in the Sports Libre up to 2000cc and Sport Racing Cars category. And we'll have another Radical SRI behind him, which will be David Bickley. John McQuillan then, a bit wide there, but still okay as he comes around semicircle. Can't beat his, oh he does beat actually, a 49.34 was his best before. He's just done a 49.22 as David Bickley is headed through Ettores. And the Force SR4 of Alan McDonald sits on the line, car number 88. Through the S's in comes the Radical as the Force gets off the start line. David Bickley looking to better a 46.85 as Alan McDonald comes up towards Ettores, car 88 the Force. David Bickley not able to improve on his best practice time so far, which came on run 3 with a 46.85. He's just in a 47.40. Alan McDonald looks like he could improve on his time, which was a 44.35, second quickest in this class in the practice runs to date. Stephen King is on the hill in his Radical Pro Sport. What's Alan McDonald going to do? He's through semicircle on up towards the finish line, just a 43.63, and he is he's improved on his time, and he is less than a tenth of a second behind Matthew Price, who is quickest in practice so far. Stephen King continues to make his way up the hill in the Radical Pro Sport as Matthew Price gets underway in the Radical SR3. Matthew Price there around in Ettores. Duncan Barnes on the start line in the Norma M20 FC French machine. Oh, a bit ragged out of pardon there for Matthew Price. I'm not sure that will help him improve on his best time to date. Really is throwing the car around through the S's as under the bridge comes Duncan Barnes. And 43.68 from Matthew Price. That's about a tenth, a little over a tenth down on his best time so far in practice. Graham Lopes is on the start line in the Lola T492. He runs in the Class B, the Sports Leaders over 2 litres sports racing cars, along with Duncan Barnes, who's coming through the S's at the moment. A 42.53 for Duncan Barnes, who's 200ths of a second slower than his best practice run today. Can Graham Rhodes get any closer to him as Rebecca Manton heads away in the Westfield FW? Graham Rhodes coming towards the end of his run and does improve with a 45.09, so finds a third of a second or so there. Rebecca Manton out of par. Ben Hamer sits on the line in his OMS 28 single-seater. Rebecca Manton looking for an improvement on her 51.16 on her third practice run. Ben Hamer coming into Torres. 50.97 from Rebecca does see her improve then on her previous times. Hamer making his way up the hill as Jonathan Flesher sits on the line in his OMS 28. We're now in the road racing cars over 600 up to 1100cc category. Ben Hamer 41.25, finds a few hundreds on his previous best. Jonathan Flesher out of Ettores on up towards Barton in his OMS. Rob Clark comes up to the line in the Empire Evo 2. Jonathan Flesher, 5th quickest in class over the first 3 practice runs. Can he improve on that? Around semicircle. And he does improve with a 40.27, but not enough to get ahead of his rivals. Rob Clark in the Empire Evo 2 heading around the Torres. James Moore sits on the line in his Empire 00. Thank you to Marcio Tavares for subscribing to HillClimb.TV. To Subot. James Moore is on the hill. Rob Clark is further up the hill and coming to semicircle. What can he do? Not able to improve. His best is still his third run time, 41.98. James Moore pushing on in the Empire 00. Richard Matossi, WR Raptor 2 gets off the line. James Moore then through the S's. Wants to improve on a time of 40.99, does so, does a 40.62, which moves him up the order, provisional order in practice a little bit, as the GWR Raptor comes out of pardon. Richard currently fourth quickest in practice, as Gavin McLaren sits on the line in the OMS 2000M. Richard coming to the end of his run in the GWR. 40.12, just finds another 700ths of a second as away goes Gavin McLaren. And up comes 106 to the start line. That's Jonathan Gething in the OMS 2000M. Gavin McLaren not able to improve on his time as Jonathan Gething gets away, and another car about to come up to the line. Jonathan heads towards the Torres. A bit twitchy through there, but he's cleanly out of there on up to Pardon. And the car that comes up to the line is car 107. It's Nigel Pitt in the OMS 3000 then, who sits on the start line. Oh, very ragged again for Jonathan Gething. Around semicircle. What's he going to do? Well, might have been ragged, but it was also quick because he has just improved quite a bit on his previous time. His previous best was a 43.05 and he's just done a 41.79. So good run then for him. Nigel Pitt's best so far been 41.10. Comes over at Torres. Mike West sits on the start line in his radical SR1. Nigel Pitt looking to batter on 41.10 as away goes Mike West. And semicircle goes Nigel. And a 40.56 does move him to sixth quickest in practice. An improvement of half a second, in fact a little more than half a second. Mike West is on his way up the hill, as is Richard Walker in the OMS 2000M. Gary Warren sits on the start line in the Empire Evo. West in the Radical Sports car, Richard Walker in the OMS single-seater coming out of Torres there, and on up to Pardon. Mike West with a 48.51, his best time by about 0.3 of a second, in fact by about 1/4 of a second. As Richard Walker comes towards the end of his run, and does a 43.51 again, his best time. Gary Warren in the Empire is heading up towards Pardon, into the left-hander, away from there. Dave Tatham sits on the line in the DJ Firestorm car 110, as Warren then flicking it through the S's. semicircle up to the line, a 41.06. That's down on his best time, which is a 40.69 in his third run. Dave Tatham pushing hard in the DJ Firehawk. Comes out of Torres on up towards Pardon. Next up will be Emma Racing in the Empire 00. Dave Tatham, second quickest in class so far, despite a fail on his third practice run. And what can he do on this fourth run? As Grayson heads up towards the Torres. And Dave Tatham, a 38.76, 400 slower than his best run of the day. Tom Weaver is on the line in his Empire Evo 2. Racing through the S's in that Empire. Can she improve on a 43.46, which was her third run time? Tom Weaver is away. 41.86 for Emma Racing is her best time by some way. Tom Weaver rounds Pardon. Well, Kerr sits on the start line in the OMS 28. Through the S's comes Tom Weaver in the Empire. And semicircle, hanging the tail out, coming out semicircle. 39.05, 400s quicker than his third run time. Okay, out of the Torres, on up towards Pardon. A little bit wide out of Pardon, but he's okay. Up towards the S as he goes. Tim Thompson is on the line in the OMS 28. Will looking to better a 40.79, which he did on his second run. Does a 40.51, so he finds very nearly, or does find a quarter of a second improvement. Sixth quickest in class in practice. There goes Tim Thompson in that OMS 28, and then we get the first of our Formula Ford cars up to the line. There's Tim around Torres. There's Rebecca Crocombe in Demon RF84, first car to first the Formula Ford to take their fourth practice run. Thompson looking for an improvement on the 42.22 he did on the second practice run. That's away goes Rebecca. Tim comes up towards the line and it's 42.21, so he's improved by 100th of a second. As Rebecca Crocombe comes up to Torres. Dodd is on the line in the Van Diemen RF86. Rebecca's best so far is at 52.44 on her second run. Kirsten gets away. Rebecca's into the S's. Dodd runs the Torres. Rebecca does a 53.07, so not able to improve on her best run. As Kirsten Dodd goes around Pardon. And Jimmy Harris gets away in his Van Diemen RF85. Kirsten Dodd running into back of 50.81 than earlier on. It's a 50.85, so 400s down on her best practice time, which was in run 2. Harris out of Pardon. Carol Nichols is on her way up the hill now in the Nike Mark 4. it's not to improve on his time, but he has still got the quickest practice time with a 47.59 in this class. Nick Saunders in the GWR Raptor is on the start line as we wait for Carol Nichols to complete her run. Be looking to beat a 54.78 from earlier on, and it is a 55.46, so she's not able to do that. Nick Saunders is away in the GWR. So obviously changing classes into racing cars between 1100 and 1600 cc. Saunders going up towards Pardon. 710 machine on the line, Alan Warburton in the Gould GR59. So Nick Saunders rounding semicircles as a 39.69, so that's his best time of the day. Alan Warburton on his way up to out of Pardon now, and I should be handing over in just a moment to Chris Druitt to continue the commentary. In the meantime, up onto the line is Liam Cooper in the Force TA car 126 as Alan Warburton comes to the finish. 40.32, down a little bit on his best ever 39.95 as Liam Cooper gets away. So now I will hand over to Chris Stewart to guide you through the next phase of the practice day.
Thanks, Peter. We'll hear you again tomorrow. Alan Warburton, a 40.32. Liam Cooper, a 41.12. And Mark Schlanker, that's good, into the 39s with a 39.67. Nicola Dearden is the S's. Here she comes in this. Everyone says this car is very narrow, but it's an impression because it hasn't got side pods. She's followed by Andrew Colborne in the Van Diemen. Up to the line comes number 835. Which is Steve Marr on the Little Predator. Steve Marr on his way from Ed Torres. Nicola did a 52.9. I've lost my screen, but there'll be an expert on hand who is good at resurrecting it. Have I pulled a plug somewhere? Right, we're waiting for the next car, funnily enough. And the next car, Nicola Dearden is back. Andrew Henson is not going to take another run in that car. Who's waiting to come out? If you're overseas somewhere, not in England, and oh, look at that. I was just going to say, any messages we'd just like to say. Clayton Young, I'd just like to say a huge thank you to that incredible Orange Army. Without them, nothing happens. Great watching, thank you. You're absolutely right. The Orange Army, all in the first flush of youth, do a fantastic job. Rain, shine, heat, cold. And Roger Warren's doing an even better job getting my screen back. Here we go again. It's car number 816. Caroline Ryder, mum of Matt, who's leading the championship, confesses to a certain fluttering of her heart when her little boy goes off the line. But Caroline is an extremely competent driver herself. Okay. Caroline into and through pardon. 22.86, Paul Harris on the line in this very attractive Van Diemen RF85. Van Diemen almost monopolised, you'd think, almost monopolised production of Formula Fords. There is Paul. Caroline finishes with a 49.43. And my screen is back in business. Thanks very much, Roger. On the line, Simon Barnwell. Hang on. It's not. It's Jack Cottrell. For some reason, Jack has forsaken his Dallara and is driving this Formula Renault Tatus. Tatus make very high quality cars in France. For a lot of single make race categories. Did Jack Cottrell have a problem with his car at Chelsea last weekend? I'm not sure, but anyway, he's having fun in this Tatus. In this class, which is class K, our quickest car is Jonathan Varley's 38.37. Jonathan has not yet appeared, so we'll see whether he can beat that. Keeping an eye on Jack. On the line, Tim Elmer in the Dallara with a V6 TKD engine. V8, I beg its pardon. TKD engine, Terry Davis engine. Tim lives in just outside Stratford-on-Avon, just up the road. Jack's done a 44.7, probably first time in this car, so respectable indeed. We haven't seen Tim out for quite a while. On the line up from the Channel Islands, Andy Bogood in the Force PT. Tim, a rather strange line into Tom Roan corner, but it all sorted itself out. Round through the speed trap after the bridge, Andy Bogood. What did he do? He did a 77, identical to Tim. And coming up to the line is a Warburton, and it's David who is was lying 10th in last year's championship. Not sure where he sits in this year's championship, but he's in there fighting in this lovely GR59 with its unique engine arrangement, particularly engine and transmission arrangement. You can't look down and see it, because all you see is the driver's seat. David, really quick, 1.98 off the line. He's going extremely well. He did a 37.32 in his second practice run this morning. Kelvin Broad in the fourth TA on the line. Let's just watch David. 37.58. Slightly slower than his second and third runs. And indeed, it's practice, it doesn't matter. It's good to get the practice in. Kelvin Broad rounding pardon. And on the line, really interesting wrapping job, multicoloured nose cone on car number 128. This is Richard Spedding's Raptor 2. Richard, son of Hayden Spedding, who was competing in his E-Type last weekend. Richard is always extremely quick. This is very quick. Quickest time so far for Richard is a 37.64. Can he get below David Warburton's 37.32? Don't forget, this is competition, this is practice, but nevertheless, 37.39. Pretty good. This is James Chalmers at the wheel of a unique rule 302, with which John had a slight shunt last weekend, bent some wishbones on the front near side, have worked like crazy to find replacements and fit them, which seems to work. James, does he get disqualified for all four wheels on the grass? I don't know, we shall see. 28.82 into S's. It was a tragedy when Ralt and Reynard effectively got evicted from Formula 3. James done a 46.04, 46.07. William Rockbridge down to 40.04. He's determined to get into the 39s. Empire Wraith, amazing aerodynamics, understeers him a little bit into the kitted it on the outside of it, Taurus. So there might be a red flag and a bit of sweeping. We shall see. But he's going really well at the moment in the Empire Wraith. Pete Tatham on the line, we'll watch him, but let's just see how William gets on. 33.76 round the semicircle. Yeah, inside the 30s, 39.76. Well done, William. What can Pete Tatham do? He's always quick. Car is always immaculate. OMS 28. About all four wheels off, it would have been a disqualification in a competition run, but as it's practice, that's okay. Pete Tatham swerves into S's, beautiful line through the S's, 32, 33, rounding semicircle. Will it be under the 40? Yeah, 39.54, well done Pete. Number 9 is Paul Hames, 9th in the championship in this amazing GR59 with its turbocharged 1300cc engine producing north, I think, of 500 horsepower. So power to weight ratio is just unreal. These cars, even the little engine ones, are quicker to 110 than a Formula One car. You won't believe the speed of these things. And when you put a 4-litre Judd in it, then you've got even quicker. Paul, that's a good run, 37.5. So his best run of the day. I think weather tomorrow is promising to be good. Aaron Colburn, Van Diemen RFO2, built for the Irish Series. Again, another one. Willie, I rather suspect that Aaron won't get below the 40-second mark, but it won't be far away. 41.44, that's okay. This is Jonathan Varley. If you're here tomorrow, have a really close look at this car in the paddock. It's a miracle of squeezing a big engine into a tiny car. This is the one, as Chris said earlier, started life with an Arrows Formula One engine, never agreed with the Arrows gearbox, and so eventually Paul, in like junior, chucked the whole thing in the corner and forgot about it until Jonathan turned up, said, "What's that?" and was told, he said, "Oh, I better have that." And he started with a BDA, I think, in the back of it, and then took the bold decision to have the little 2-litre V8 TKD from Terry Davis. And I think, I may be wrong, I think that could be the final TKD engine that Terry is making. Here's Caroline Ryder again. Ian Tucker takes off in the OMS 28, while Caroline navigates her way through the S's. Who we got on the line? We got number 846, Bernard Kevel. Bernard shares with Simon Andrews. They are both distinguished gentlemen of a certain age, but they're having a lot of fun in this OMS 28 with the first of the TKD engines, funny enough. Nice and reliable, easy to run. Off the line comes Lynn Owen, Mrs. OMS. Bernard, can he get up? No, he can't get under 40 seconds. 42.11, that's okay. Lynn, lurid paint job, you won't miss it at night. Sharing, of course, with husband Steve. They build their OMSs north of York in Yorkshire. And Sandra Tomlin takes off in the Pilgrim MP97 with its 4-litre Judd engine. We almost got a promise 2 years ago for Jos Verstappen to have a match race against Sandra at Prescott or Shelsley. Sadly, it never came off. The reason was that at one stage in a Grand Prix, young Verstappen said, "I'm driving like an old granny." And we said, "We could show you how an old granny should drive. See if you can get up Shelsley quicker than Sandra Tomlin." And Matt said, "No, I won't do it, but my dad might." And Joss agreed to do it, but of course, logistics and things got in the way. It never happened. Here's the builder of the fantastic range of Gould racing cars, Sean, who with his dad made their first car back in 1983, I think. It was on display at Chelsea last weekend. Beautifully made little race car. On the lines of a miniature Williams FW07. Sean does a 37.26, and he's followed by Richard Summers in the Summers family built AFS P4T, beautifully built. Lindsay built the nose cone and various other carbon fiber parts. Alex was responsible primarily for the design. Richard kept everything on hold and kept everybody in line, and this car appeared for the first time, I think the year before last at Shelsley, and was a sensation when it first appeared. Richard does a 42.58, and on the line it's great to see Graham win in the Gould, because Graham had a nasty looking accident out of the top S at Shelsley last weekend. Got knocked about a bit, but he seems okay. And he's done 3 runs already today, so he's a glutton for punishment. Let's see what he can do. Going all right, perfect line into Pardon. Gets his braking just about right on the line. A car not familiar to me, 137, is Simon Barnwell in the Tartus, which we saw. It'll come back, but it was shared earlier. I don't think we know Simon Barnwell terribly well, but anyway, 2 litres, he's going well. He's under the bridge at 75 miles an hour, which is good. Graham Wynn did a 102 under the bridge, quickest we've seen. Jonathan Varley, interesting in the tiny little Raptor, did a 102. And on the line, 140 is a new sensation, 19-year-old Alex Coles, who is already extremely quick. Let's see what Alex can do in the Force TA. Why isn't he on our list of leading runners in this class? Or maybe he's been taking it easy. But Jack Cottrell, I was thinking about before, who shared the Tartus. What can Alex do? Can he get under the 40-second mark? It wouldn't surprise me in the slightest if he did. He really is quick. Has he started in karting like so many young hot shoes? He'll be well under the 40. A 37.45 for Alex. Top of the tree in his class by half a second. Hi from Australia, I'm over here. Well, that's good. Do you mean you're over here in Prescott? This is, and John Chalmers on the line. Our note was from the New Age Network. So presumably here in this country, battery runs up, plugs in, gets John started again. If it starts. So annoying when they fail on the line and then kind of wants to go, although I think it's just starting on the fuel in the fuel in the carburetors, but it hasn't got those. But it's short of fuel, it's not picking up. That looks a bit healthier. Got a pop and a bang. Yes, well done John, got it going, well done Jamie. Racing engines are not easy. They're not designed to be easy to start. John is son-in-law of the late, great Roy Lane. I think Roy was 5 times champion, British Hillclimb Championship. John always worked with Roy. I don't know if Jamie is continuing the family tradition. Simon Andrews, sharing of course with Bernard Keble. Bernard did a 42.11. What does Simon do? What does John do? Just over the 40 mark, 41.42. Here's Simon Andrews, OMS 28 with the first of Terry Davis's engines. If it's an in-house battle, he's got to beat 41.64. On the line, Dave Uren. Always quick. This car is one of the most famous hill climb cars. Won the championship so many times. The hands, particularly Martin Groves, held the record and shows it for a long time. David is very quick in it as well. Shares it with Nicola Mingus. I'm not sure if she's entered in it this weekend. Car number 8 indicating 8th in the British Hillclimb Championship. So this venerable car still has plenty of life in it. GR55B, car number 8. 3.5 litre engine. And Dave scores a 37.81. Simon Andrews 41.81. So that family battle, as it were, is a very close run. Here is Morgan Jenkins in sharing the Pilbeam MP97 with its 4-litre Judd engine with Sandra Tomlin. Mum-in-law Steve Owen 40.8, that's good for the OMS 28. Morgan off the line, plenty of power, but Pilbeam MP97 is I think 13 years old, so it's not one of these ultra lightweight up-to-date Goulds or Forces or things like that. On the line, 3 times champion Trevor Willis in another OMS 28, this time with the RPE engine, Radical engine. And Trevor number 6, who's 6th in the championship, has only got 3.2 litres and is down on par. Maybe he's got 450, 500, but he's not matching the 600 or 700 of the really quick either Judd or ex-IndyCar engines run by a number of the top runners. But Trevor makes up for it with terrific driving skill, hangs the tail out a little bit. 37.13. 37.13. Matthew Ryder did 35.85. Will Hall in the car that he acquired a couple of years ago, brand new from Gould. It started black and now is in this lovely ex-Williams colour blue. It suits it, and Will had a brilliant weekend at the other place last weekend. Let's see how he gets on. He's quick out of S's. 32 or so into semicircle. 36.54 for William. Now then, what can Alex do? He doesn't have to do anything crazy, of course. There's absolutely no point. When it comes to runoffs tomorrow, it's the top 12 in the class runs who get to run in the runoff, and that's when you see the latest tyres put on, everything. The car is quick as it possibly be made to go. Alex 30.71, 36.36, fraction slower than previous runs today. What will happen tomorrow, goodness knows. Here is Matthew. He doesn't need to beat his 36.25 or his 35.85. But being Matthew, he probably will have a go. Out of the tunnel, not all that quick, 99. Will did a 107. And it could be that some of these guys have been so fast under the bridge that they're already on the brakes when they go through that speed trap. Keep a close eye on Matthew if you're on the screen. Perfect line through. The S is 30.38. Now I don't think he's going to beat his previous time. Oh yes it does, 35.76. Record here, 34. Here's champion Wallace Menzies. Had a nasty do at Cragantlet a couple of months ago. Did a great deal of damage to the car. And a certain amount of psychological damage, I think, to Wallace, which is not surprising. It was a nasty do. .34.65 I think is the record. Porsche on the line, 165. This is Peter Herbert's extremely quick 911, car number 165. 3.8 litres, nice lightweight 911. Now this is interesting because Tom Rossi has taken the hood down on the Boxster, having run with the hood up so far, and yet my argument, and I may be completely wrong, is that to have a windscreen sticking up on its own leads to a certain amount of drag. So it'll be interesting to see how Tom's times this run compares with early ones. Peter Herbert 49.73. Tom heads for pardon. At least he's keeping cooler. And on the line, Jonathan Elwood in this nice Honda Civic Type R. And I keep repeating myself, if you can find a good one, it's a very good buy for four or 5 grand. Incidentally, I need to make an apology to Roger Moran, having told you that if you turn up at Roger's Emporium in Shropshire, he will rent you a motor. No, he won't. He'll send you away with a flea in his ear. He doesn't do rentals. You have to buy one or else go somewhere else. Jonathan Elwood doing well in the Honda. Steve Perry, Mazda MX-5. Car number 173 on the line. Again, hood down. What did Tom do? He did a 53.85, and I think that's slower than he was before. Steve Perry on his way. Jonathan Elwood heads for the finish with not a very quick time, 57.65. I wonder if the poor old Honda is sickening for something. Here's the Alpine coloured Twingo on the line. You'll see it in a second or two. Jonathan Elwood's time, 57.65. He won't be pleased with that. Here comes Rob Guttridge in the Twingo. Steve Perry, Mazda MX-5, nearly at the finish. .59.06, Rob Guttridge in the Twingo, being tuned to make it go much quicker.
Hello again, and Chris is just leaving us after doing a sterling job, and Peter Hughes. Thank you very much to those two. I shall run you through the last few. We've only got a few to go now. Anyway, we've got Richard Morris on the hill. He's just finished in a 38.18. A 43.40. Steve Hodgkins is on the hill in the Audi TT. And we've got this is the New Barnes Cars Championship at the moment. We've got Subaru Impreza just coming to the line of Mike Dockery. His STI Subaru, car 184. So Mike Dockery leaves the line in the Subaru. Steve Hodgkins finishes in a time of 48.80. Mike Dockery in the STI is already on the hill, about halfway up, and he'll be followed by George Perks in the Renault Clio 182 Cup car. So Mike Dockery finishes, he's not finished yet. He's just going through the S's now. So we've got a mixed class of cars here at the moment. I don't think there's many more to come. They're not all having another go. So Mike Dockery finishes in a 46. No, he doesn't. Sorry about this, folks. So you see the single-seaters finishing in the 30s. Anyway, Mike Dockery at 54.52. Ah, right. Okay. Christopher Heritage in the Dax Rush just leaves the line. Again, this is like a kit car. Front engine, probably a Ford engine in that one. And just looking at the times, Tom Mogirossi leads the way in the New Barn RS Interclub Speed Championships with a 53.85. Mike Dockery in the Subaru has just done a 53.93. George Perks just done a 54.26. As Christopher Heritage is on the hill in the Dax Rush. Mike Brakes has just left the line in the Ford Fiesta ST150. And I'm not seeing any more cars lining up at the moment, so we may be come towards the end. Anyway, we will cross that hurdle as we get to it. We're not going to have many to go anyway, if there's any, so we hope you've had a wonderful time. You've tuned in from abroad. Tomorrow we will have a practice run first thing, then we will have all time runs, and then the plan will be the fastest 12 cars will go for a runoff at lunchtime, where the top 10 will score points, and obviously to win will get you the maximum amount of points. And we are looking forward to a scintillating day there. Is it going to be another day for Matt Ryder? Is Alex Summers going to pip him, or is 4-time champion Wallace Menzies going to come back to form and take the win? Looks like the course car is just going up the hill. I'm just looking across to course control. There on the, is that it? Yeah, that is it for the day, folks. So amazing, lovely practice day. We will be back in the morning when we will start all over again. We will basically have one practice run, then it'll all be timed. There'll be a run-off in the morning, a run-off for the same in the afternoon, and then it'll be time to go home. So thank you for joining us all over the world. My name is Chris Ponsford. I'm signing off now. Have a safe journey home, all you've come to the event. And if you've tuned in from abroad, we would love to see you again tomorrow. Subscribe to HillClimb.TV. We would love that. We're over 14,500 at the moment. We would love to get up to 15,000. And join us tomorrow for all the competitive runs. Good night to you all.
Hill climbing is one of the most popular forms of motorsport. Drivers compete against the clock over a tarmac course, typically around 1 to 1.5 kilometres long. It attracts a whole range of cars, from road-going saloons to specialised single-seater racing cars. The British Hillclimb Championship is the pinnacle of the sport, with over 150 drivers tackling 14 events around the UK, including Northern Ireland and Channel Islands. The contest for the title of British Hillclimb Champion is dominated by powerful race cars, with reigning champion Wallace Menzies driving a Gould single-seater powered by a 3.3-litre Cosworth engine designed for the Indy race car series in the USA. The BHC Cup runs alongside the main championship and is fought out between a wide range of cars, all running in classes of similar type of vehicles, from road-going saloons all the way through to specialised single-seater race cars.